How more people aren't talking about this right now. I just mentioned this in my Apollo space missions video where we talked about the moon landing being fake, but this whole Challenger situation, this is crazy.
I think we all remember the Challenger explosion that took place in 1986 that tragically took the lives of all 7 astronauts on board. As a couple decades later, this thing called the internet came about, and someone allegedly found almost all of those astronauts alive and well, many using the same exact name. Miss Resnick was questioned at Yale by a journalist, and she panicked and ran from the camera. Why?
Conspiracy about space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
Look at this foolery. Together.
My thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character.
You guys are brand new here. You guys don't know what we do. Don't worry. I'm going to break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scarce and creepiest videos on the net, on the web. That's going to make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
Elephants are more closely related to woolly mammoths than African elephants. Worker ants will take a bunch of 1-minute naps in their day to allow themselves to sleep more than 5 hours a day. This is what the x-ray of a pregnant dog looks like, and I don't know how many puppies are in there, but feel free to count. This is the Luzon bleeding heart bird, or aka the stabbed pigeon, where obviously it looks like it's been stabbed in the heart. This is a time lapse of what it looks like when seals fall asleep. The sloth bears found in India and the inspiration for Baloo from the Jungle Book are actually considered to be the most aggressive bears in the world. This sea slug can behead itself and then within less than a month grow an entirely new body off of the head. This is the bay cat, and these have been seen less than 100 times in recorded history, and they weren't even found again for 60 years after the first time we found them. This is a super zoomed up photo of what the scales of a butterfly wing look like. Camel spiders will scream when they are being threatened. Sloths don't have the ability to fart.
The president of Russia says Americans are eating each other.
Stuffing their belly with human flesh.
Is this really why they made Russia the biggest villain after World War II? By no means am I defending Russia, but Putin definitely seems to know what's going on in the world. Stay weird.
They'll have DVDs, and people still get them because when they lock this internet up, ain't nobody streaming nothing. Streaming was created for real-time editing. The reason we're all into streaming, the reason why they took the hard drive out of the Apple TV, the reason why they don't want you with content is because they want to be able to alter content. See, if you're streaming, it's on their server, not yours. You don't own it. You don't even have it. That's why they sell a computer now, the fastest computer out right now, and the hard drive is tiny. Why you only give me 100 of this? 28 gigabytes. And if you want more, you got to pay thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
Why are they doing that? Because they want it in the cloud. Because two things happens if it's in the cloud. One, they have it. And the other thing is, they learn it. Metatron don't know. He's not omniscient. He's not like God or whatever. This demon spirit has to learn.
They get our voices, our images, our...
Dude, it's us. We're all cyborgs. There's a digital version of all of us in the hands of the enemy. He's created it from our uploads. He's showing all your birthdays. He's showing everything you do. You learn it. How else would the devil be omnipresent? He wants to be like God. The internet makes him omnipresent.
That's crazy.
I'm sure.
Oh, that's why, for me, it's all hard copy, bro. That streaming stuff, bro, like you said, it's on the service on the cloud. You don't even own it, bro. They can alter it, make you see what they want you to see. But if it's on hard copy, bro, they can't alter that bad. Truth and facts.
You've all seen this interview with Macron at Davos, but where are they for real? Does this look normal?
I'm extremely happy to be here, and it's great to be here, as a Financial Times would say. So let's try to address the key challenge of this world in a few minutes' time. But it's clear that we are reaching a time of instability, of imbalances. both from the security and defense point of view and the economic point of view. Look at the situation where we are. I mean, a shift towards autocracy against democracy, more violence, more than 60 wars in 2024, an absolute record, even if I understood a few of them were fixed. And conflict has become normalized, hybrid, expanding into new domains, space.
I don't know how more people aren't talking about this right now. I just mentioned this in my Apollo space missions video where we talked about the moon landing being fake, but this whole Challenger situation, this is crazy.
I think we all remember the Challenger explosion that took place in 1986 that tragically took the lives of all 7 astronauts on board. As a couple decades later, this thing called the internet came about, and someone allegedly found almost all of those astronauts alive and well, many using the same exact names. As you can see here, we have Challenger astronaut Judith Resnick and also Judith Resnick Yale law professor. Michael J. Smith, the pilot of the Challenger astronaut, and also professor at University of Wisconsin, now retired Michael J. Smith. Commander Dick Scobie, who is now president of Cows and Trees. Now, if you'll notice, they all have the exact same faces 30 some odd years later, the same exact name. This Resnick was questioned at Yale by a journalist, and she panicked and ran from the camera. Why?
Conspiracy about space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
Mr. Michael J. Smith was also questioned, and he said, yeah, we look alike, but that's not me.
Are you Michael Smith? Yeah. Are you aware that there's a rumor on the internet that people are saying...
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger. But really not.
Yeah, you just sure look alike. It's the same
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like, what, 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And we're supposed to believe that 3 people from one spaceflight have exact lookalikes that have the same age and same exact names.
Sir, I'm going to have to stop.
Sir, this is a public comment.
I know what it is, sir. I'm very familiar with the public comment.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Will you let me finish for at least 10
No,
seconds?
sir, you're finished. Thank you.
Thank you for taking away my freedom of speech today in here.
I did not take away your freedom of speech.
Yes, you did.
I don't want to hear it from you
Just
people
because
down
this is
here.
an uncomfortable
Stop.
topic.
Officers, please remove this man from the room.
They eat people. My God, how horrible. They killed a lot of people. I wasn't afraid of death, but they ate people. Do you understand? People.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true. I'm not crazy. They are full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood.
True that to get to a certain level in Hollywood, these famous people have to sacrifice their firstborn child. Is that a crazy thing to say?
I've heard, okay, let me just say for the record, I don't know any of this to be first, like I can't prove what I'm about to say. If you ask me what I can prove, I can't prove this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me what I believe,
yeah,
I believe that there is a club, and I do believe that there are certain people that to attain a certain stature or certain level of influence or power, fame, whatever, you're required to either sacrifice a blood sacrifice, whether it be your mom or a relative or whatever, because it's all worshiping their God, their false God.
So what are the signs that you see that make you think that that's true?
Well, how many, what do you mean? Go Google your stars and see how many of them lost a parent or how many of them lost a kid, died in accidents or died during a certain period of time in their life. Go Google, go see how many stars. Who do you think's pushing that? Where do you think that comes from? That is Baphomet. That is satanic.
It's dark.
It's evil.
It's very dark.
Why is this name redacted? You would think the DOJ would want to investigate someone who sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein saying, quote, I give you permission to kill him. Well, thankfully for all of us, the DOJ sucks at their job. And there's actually another version of that email that is less redacted, or more accurately, poorly redacted. Check this out. I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with Olga. He lied to you. He lied to me. And you can kind of make out the name here to be one Susan Hamblin. Here's an enhanced image. You could read right there, Susan Hamblin. So who is Susan Hamblin? Well, she is evidently a financial advisor and founder of the adoption agency Kids to Families. Looks like the agency no longer exists, but I was able to find this archive in the Wayback Machine. At this point, we still don't know who Olga is, but according to reporting, it says that the only time the name has come up in the Epstein case is when his former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, recounted getting a massage from a woman of the same name at Epstein's place. Now, interestingly, a few years ago, Susan Hamblin sued News Group Newspapers, the publisher of The Sun, who had printed that Susan Hamblin had groomed and procured a 16-year-old woman to be sexually abused by Epstein and told her that Epstein would kill her and her family if she told anyone what Epstein had done. They've since removed those articles and agreed to pay her a substantial compensation. But one Sue Hamblin can be seen in this photo with Jeffrey Epstein describing her to be his alleged assistant, as well as this photo of her leaving Jeffrey Epstein's New York City apartment describing her as a long-term confidant. A lot of stuff going on here, but the lesson is that this is all information that the DOJ wants to hide from us, but thank goodness the internet is still undefeated.
Feds is now offering $50,000 to whoever can find Nancy Guthrie or help them find her. When I first heard that shit, I'm just sitting there like, bruh, someone kidnapped an 84-year-old lady? Y'all don't see how that shit sounds crazy as fuck? Now I know it's crazy people out in the world. I know it's people that would do something like that, but chances is very slim. That's why it make me look at the inside like it gotta be somebody close to her. It just don't be making sense to me, bruh. Nobody else feel like that? Somebody must really had it out for their family to do some shit like this. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments.
These people.
I saw that trend on Twitter, bro. I was just freaking crazy. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. That whole hostage situation. Well, not a hostage, but somebody kidnapped her. And it's like a ransom. Weird rabbit hole I have to go down to find that.
Well, okay, genuinely. How detached from reality do you think one would have to be to create an anti-aging face mask for children 3 and up? Just wondering. I would dare to say that about 99% of Hollywood does not have their original faces, meaning they're having something injected, taken out, or implanted somewhere to be prettier. And now they're inventing something to make children look younger longer. And not just that, Shay, but the panda eyes. Really? And this isn't just some kind of conspiracy, you guys. This is literally what happens to severely abused children.
Panda, so you got Panda is a secret code for a certain thing. And so when it comes down to that certain thing, and if you touch that nerve, you can turn a person into an animal. You can turn a person into whatever you want them to be if you just hold them down.
And she has 3 to choose from. The puppy dog, which looks like it has 1 black eye. The unicorn, which just has a little bruising above the brow. And then full-on panda. To be honest, no matter how you look at it, it's giving detached and very strange. When you look at the company she keeps, like Britta Song, for example, it makes you wonder if they're playing in our faces or if this is just truth in plain sight. Which, if you didn't know, not sure how because they are weirdly everywhere all of a sudden, Brenda's married to Macaulay Culkin, who literally has a band called the Pizza Underground. Kinda suspicious, kinda odd. If we know, they know, so why do they do it? Tell me guys, is it truth in plain sight? Are they mocking us, or is it all just one big coincidence?
Why are people claiming to have proof that Epstein is still alive? And what the hell's it got to do with Fortnite? Well, ultimately, people are claiming that they have linked one of Epstein's real emails to a Fortnite account that is being active after his death. And when this started going viral, that account was immediately made private. Pictures like this also started circulating at the same time, claiming to have found Epstein walking around in Israel. Problem is, those pictures AI generated. And as for Epstein ripping Fortnite in the Big 26, problem is it does contain a lot of correct information, which is what makes it so misleading. It all starts with a real email that he used and a real username that he seemingly used for YouTube. Both of these are from the DOJ files themselves. There's also this real email 3 months before he died saying that a $25 charge was for V-Bucks on Fortnite. So people putting all of these things together wanted to see if he had an account on Fortnite. Lo and behold, Little Saint Jeff 1 was a real account. The account showed that the player was active during Chapter 2 Season 1, which was only released in October 2019, 2 months after he died. There were also claims that the account was logging wins all the way up to 2025, but I cannot confirm that because when I went to go and look, this account has now been set to private. But there's two main reasons why this is probably not Epstein's account at all. Firstly, there is no evidence that this active Fortnite account can be linked to Jeffrey Epstein's email, because as we can see, the only email indicating that he did have Fortnite himself is this email, and the address that it was sent to was redacted. And two, there are actually multiple users on Fortnite with this exact username. Like this one, for example, in Turkey, which is not private. There's also no way of knowing when they set their username to Little Saint Jeff 1. They could be trolling and have just done it after the file's released. So fortunately, it doesn't look like Epstein is playing Fortnite while the world is combing through his emails.
Only thing... And we don't... Well, that's what this freaking AI, man, this AI age... so dangerous, bro. Those pictures, man, they look legit. They look real, bro. And I've seen that freaking theory going around. They're saying Epstein might be alive. I saw that Fortnite trending. That's why I had to find this clip. What do you guys think, man? Are the people trolling and just making fake little Jeff accounts? Or it could be the real thing. He's out somewhere hiding, just playing Fortnite, biting our faces.
These Epstein files there will show you how sick these people really are. But that's nothing new. When Ryan Garcia was about to fight Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia started saying a lot of things about the elite. Nobody believed him. Everybody thought he was crazy. He told people what they do to kids. He told people where they take kids. Then they have books that give us details how these people have been eating people for years. Real life cannibals. Allegedly, this man said newborn babies taste like cream cheese. You heard what I just said? They show us in the movies. They joke about it. I want you to go back to when Amy Winehouse died. Then I want you to remember what Neil Patrick Harris did. This man had someone make him a cake to resemble Amy Winehouse how she was dead. And they ate that cake. People don't joke like that. Oh, that's not enough? What about Ellen? Ellen DeGeneres. What about her? Ellen went from looking like Ellen to looking like Ellen. Who is that? You gotta remember how many people that she was in contact with. You gotta remember around the pandemic time, 2020 time. Remember everything that came out about Ellen? What about that? Now let's talk about Nicki Minaj. And I know a lot of people don't want to talk about her right now, but she has been trying to expose this thing for a minute. Nicki just said that they eat people, that they sacrifice their family members. The writing has been on the wall for years. Now jump down the Epstein files rabbit hole. The mention of Pizzagate. The mention of what he's been doing to these people. And not just him. And go down another rabbit hole. Go down the rabbit hole of secret societies. See what they've been doing. What I'll say is this. It's nothing new under the sun. And this is for entertainment purposes only. But these people have allegedly been doing this the entire time we've been here. Pay attention.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but you don't have to be one to think that this is insane. The U.S. Department of War tweeted that yes, they have directed energy weapons, and yes, they are scaling them. For years, if you even mention this kind of technology, you got mocked, you got fact-checked, and you got called a crazy conspiracy theorist. And now it's just openly admitted. So what is a directed energy weapon? It's a weapon that uses electromagnetic or particle energy to destroy its targets. Extremely deadly. Theoretically could even start fires that burn abnormally fast and other things like that. And maybe this technology has been around a lot longer than we're told. Here's an image from the 1871 Chicago fire. And what's that? If you see here, this laser does not incinerate the color blue, so the people painting their roofs blue aren't so crazy anymore, are they? And what exactly are they scaling them for? But what do I know? I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Let me know what you think.
Listen, I'm going up on that roof, Brian. Blue's hot. That's all I need, bro. Blue reflects that the energy weapons, man. I'm on that, bro. Noted. Written down.
All take a look at this foolery together.
My thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character.
Damn.
Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity. You ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man. Like, what you gonna stand for if...
This is just like when Shannon Sharp said, for $50 million, he will go to hell. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Matter of fact, let me remove, hold on. That's a whole lot better. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Y'all need to use Shannon Sharp and this guy as an example. These are the people that have people that they're influencing. These people have people that look up to them, and they're blatantly they're telling you who they are. They're telling you the type of people that they are. They're telling you who they actually serve, and be thankful that they are revealing themselves. These people are not who you think they are. They not. Don't idolize these people, man. He just said $100 million. You know what I mean? And Shannon Sharp said he would go to hell for $50 million. Man. Don't idolize these people, man. Don't do it. These people are not good people to be around. Now y'all know their true intentions. Now y'all know what they're willing to do, the extent that they're willing to go. And a lot of their standards is really low. So it's up to y'all on what y'all decide to do. Follow for more.
Crazy. No amount of money can ever make me sell my soul, bro. It's not worth it. He said $100 million, he'd do that. I don't care. Not $100 billion, $1 billion, bro. You can have my soul, man. Like I said, there's just some things. Money doesn't have a price, bro. Gotta stand for something, have some wars, man. Tell me down below, bro. $100 million are you selling yourself? Yes or no? I need to know, man.
Black Mirror that's happening? I don't know if you heard the two-way app.
What's the two-way app?
Say you have like a family member that like you know is gonna pass you.
Oh my god.
Right? They'll do it like, you know how in the iPhone capture your face?
Oh, they create an AI?
Yeah, so they'll create an AI.
Hey mom, I just need a quick video. Is this like an audition or something? No mom, just 3 minutes. You need my best side? Can I see the
And the first commercial, it was like a mom that's pregnant with a baby who's FaceTiming her dead grandma. And then the kid grows up later, he's still FaceTiming the grandma.
Oh, see, like, that's cool,
yeah.
But it's just weird.
Hi grandma. Hey Charlie. How was school today?
It was really fun. I made this crazy shot in basketball.
I don't really care that much about basketball. What about the crush?
Stop. Grandma, stop.
The weird thing is, they do these personality tests so they can capture the persona.
Imagine the future of cemeteries.
Yeah.
So you go to the cemetery, instead of just going to the tombstone, you can actually talk to the relative. That's kind of cool. It's a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah, y'all might as well stop eating all types of meat now, because Mr. Beast just exposed this company, Upside Foods, that they've been producing genetically modified chickens since 2018. They said it took 220 million chickens to feed Americans per year, but now they just create them in the lab, y'all. This is crazy.
Brings us to Upside Foods that has literally produced hundreds of thousands of pounds of chicken meat without killing a single chicken, which is incredible because over 220 million chickens are killed every single day in order to sustain demands for their meat. And Upside Foods has spent over $200 million in research and development in order to create this technology. Let me show you how we do it. But please do, I don't understand. When we took cells from a chicken egg in 2018, we cracked an egg, we took a small amount of cells, and we froze them in this that goes down to -80. Wow. And you use those cells to make hundreds of thousands of pounds of chicken meat. Step 2 is we take those cells, we gently thaw them out. Oh my gosh. This is simulating a chicken's body, and the cells are just multiplying. Once we get enough of them, we move on to step 3. This is protein, fat, sugar. I'm literally feeding the chicken cells over there so they can multiply into chicken meat. That's right, yes. And once the chicken feed is in the container, it moves all the way through these pipes and through the factory, and eventually ends up in here. You can look through this. You'll see chicken cells just swimming and swimming in there. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of chicken. Every 2 seconds, this produces a chicken's worth of chicken meat. Yeah, every few seconds. And saving chicken lives is not the only upside to Upside Foods. These chickens don't get diseases, so you don't have to worry about a disease spreading on the farm and then you eating a sick chicken. Honestly, it seems too good to be true. Well, let's go and try it. Please, I need to try it. I need to see how this tastes. Now we're going to put the meat we just grew to the test. Come on in. I brought one of the best chefs I know, Nick DiGiovanni, and he's prepared for us 2 chicken sandwiches. today to make. The other, no chickens were killed. It was grown in the lab. Which do you think we'll like better? I think if I cook it right, you won't be able to tell. Okay, this is gonna be a good test. He's now giving me one of these chicken sandwiches. So we're both trying this one. Here's what it actually is. Me and Drake do not know. Cheers. Cheers it.
Real chicken. The correct way.
Well, chicken. Chicken. Now we're gonna try this one. This is what it is. We don't know. Cheers it.
Lab grown.
I honestly can't tell. It's actually scary how similar they are. I mean, they're both chicken. No matter what, both of them taste really good. This one's the cultivated one. You're wrong. No shot. That's the cultivated one. I honestly can't tell the difference.
And then to have the audacity to make the logo of the company a heart. And the crazy thing is, this is only one company. Movies has been exposing for years that they've been feeding us different stuff. I don't know about y'all, man, but we shouldn't be eating from these people. Upside Down Foods, you get a thumbs down. Let me know what you guys think about this video.
Notice that celebrities are transforming? Watch this.
Why my video of celebrity hands went viral is because I'm right. It's because the majority of the population know that this is absolutely abnormal.
Not
You're
normal,
telling me
y'all.
this transformation is just from weight loss, guys. Come on.
Definitely not.
So,
Something else is going on.
aunts and uncles and grandparents and great-grandparents and sisters and moms and me, we all age. My hands have never changed. This is
It looks like a chicken
what the
foot.
heck?
Wow.
A lot of you also mentioned age. I mean, let's be honest. How much could Hailey Bieber have possibly aged between this picture and
She's not that old.
and this picture? Let's be honest. And I'm not talking about fingernails. I'm talking about the joints of the fingers.
Look at the fingers.
She has extremely long fingers.
She didn't used to.
Same with Cynthia Erivo. You're telling
Roll
me
her hands in this picture.
her and her hands look like this? Completely normal.
Yeah,
and then all
watch
of a
this.
sudden, we're seeing this.
Those are not human hands.
Guys, this is very inhuman. This is otherworldly. This is not anything I have ever seen before.
No.
Totally bizarre. What is going on?
They look like demon
No,
hands.
no. I'm showing you actresses who haven't lost a ton of weight. I'm showing you actresses who haven't aged 2 decades.
What is going
And
on
many
with
of their
celebrities,
hands
y'all?
look like this. Call me crazy all you want, but I'm telling you right now.
Stay weird.
It's absolute insanity, and it's not normal.
Here's some things I just learned today.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia just does not have a single river in the entire country. There was a 9-year-old boy who was kidnapped, but after singing the same song for 3 hours, he annoyed the kidnapper so much that the kidnapper released him unharmed. These are the Silver Snipers, a Swedish esports team where the youngest member is 62 and the oldest is 81. The oldest bones that have ever been discovered in Antarctica belonged to an indigenous woman from Chile who passed away in her early 20s. She was found on a beach with no known explanation of how she arrived in Antarctica between 1819 and 1825. People with depression use significantly more first-person singular pronouns like me, myself, and I, which researchers have found are more reliable in identifying depression than negative emotion work. Craigslist generated $300 million in 2024 without spending any money on marketing or advertising, and they don't even have a sales team. Who is still using Craigslist?
I don't know.
Once again, passengers continue to give the airline industry another reason to stop serving drinks. A passenger on a Breeze Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Colorado decided to get up and start striking other passengers with what's believed to be his belt. He was quickly subdued by other passengers after he struck a flight attendant. Take a look at this. Look. Good thing for this gentleman right here. Picked him up like a toddler and put him in a timeout. Got back up.
Information that he struck a flight attendant, so there is interest that the passenger is free and is using what they were trying to restrain him with as a weapon.
He sat him down.
Roger, hitting people with his own, it's a waste of or something.
I'm old enough to recall when in-flight entertainment was a movie and a drink on an airline. Not Drunky McDrunkson over here, harassing people and using his belt as a weapon. The bottom line here is, I do believe all alcoholic beverages need to stop being sold. I know they make money off it in the airports and on the flights, but If this is what we have to deal with, just can't get on a plane and go from A to B without having C, entertainment of stupidity in the middle, then things need to change. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Tell me down below, what do you think?
Moments in kids' TV shows. Part 3. The Imperfect Cell saga in the Dragon Ball Z series follows Cell in his numerous attempts to gain power.
Classic.
Even though this show is known for its high-action violence and sometimes even bloodshed, one particular episode in this series was exceptionally disturbing. In this episode, there's a scene where an innocent man is killed by Cell, and while the death is disturbing enough to a child, the way he died makes it all the more unsettling. Cell punctures the man and begins to literally suck the life out of him, absorbing the man's life energy until he's a pile of dead flesh in the road. The visuals and sounds make this even more disturbing as we see the man in clear agony while being sucked dry, and an awful gurgling sound can be heard all the while.
You won't believe what water parks looked like before lawsuit culture. The following stories are from just one water park in New Jersey that opened in 1978. For starters, they really prioritized adrenaline over safety, and the vast majority of the park supervisors were young, nonchalant, undertrained teenagers. And because of that, their tidal wave pool started getting the nickname Grave Pool thanks to the sheer number of people who drowned and needed to be rescued every day. I mean, they did allow up to 1,000 people to swim at once. They also had a slide called the Cannonball Loop, and it had an enclosed near vertical drop, which at the end had a 360 loop. And because of the number of people getting stuck, knocking out their teeth, or getting injured, they had to close it within a month of opening it. Somebody got electrocuted on the park's kayak ride. Oh, and it wasn't just the slides. Guests were allowed to drive their go-karts up to 50 miles an hour, and they would often slam into each other at those speeds like it was bumper cars. Craziest part, though, is that despite all the injuries, most people didn't even care, and they just kept on coming back for more. And the park actually remained pretty popular until eventually the new trend of lawsuits started catching on, and it soon no longer became financially viable.
Oh, rock,
Insane.
or whatever you want to call it, fell off the sky in Panama. A man went and tracked it down, found the rock, or whatever it's called, brought it back to his home, and it started growing, y'all. It reminded me of something off of the Stranger Things. That joint look like it got tentacles, y'all. Look at this shit. This how small it was at first, y'all. As you can see. Look at it. The fuck is that?
I don't know. Why are you asking me?
And now, it's like this. What the is that? I don't know what that is, y'all. This joint look like it belong on Stranger Things. Look like it got a heartbeat and everything, fool. This shit crazy. Somebody let me know what the hell that is. This shit got the internet talking. Because this ain't no hoax. The man went live and showed this shit too. Like, I don't have nothing to lie for, y'all. I don't know what it is. It look like fungus. It look like something I wouldn't want in my home. At all. Like I said, y'all leave y'all thoughts down below on what y'all think it is. Castle. So cool.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. It looks like Venom, man. That's the only thing that came to my mind, bro. Remember that scene in Spider-Man 3 when it fell out the meteorite and the Venom came out of it? That's exactly what it looks like. Or it could be a type of fungus, man. We're dealing with the Last of Us situation.
Is a megalithic structure in southern Florida the single guy made over the course of 25 years, all on his own, using no power tools whatsoever, and no one basically knows how he did it. There's all these celestial illusions that are made, and then all of his monuments are set up celestially, so he has all of the planets in their proper order as the naked eye would see them in the sky. There's a really rudimentary and frankly like scary looking carving of an alien-like face inside one of the stones. And so the idea is that this guy had either found or been given this celestial knowledge from celestial beings on how to make these megalithic structures. You think like if this guy was able to do that all by himself over the course of 15 years, if he was able to do that, think of what the Egyptians would have been able to do. I think it was an 11-ton gate where it was so precisely set up, a 2-year-old toddler could push it with a finger and it would spin around. Well after his death, it stopped working. It took a team of engineers and heavy equipment to fix it. And this guy had done it by himself. Yeah. In the dark. Yeah, in the dark, yeah. Coral Castles, that's blowing my mind right now.
See, y'all don't believe
Wow.
shit is real.
Should I visit then?
Well, look at this shit. In China, they're saying that they shot a UFO out the sky. And I want you to look at that. You see right there? I need you to understand what's going on right here. Look at this right here. There it is. And there it goes. Now you gotta ask yourself this. After all these years of people saying that they saw UFOs, that they saw aliens, and they downplayed it, why now? Why are these people letting us see this shit now? I tell you this, exactly what I told you before. Do not believe that they didn't know about anything that's about to happen. Everything that's about to happen, they knew about. The footage that you just saw was on the news in China. It's real convenient how there's a whole lot of crazy shit going on in 2025. 2 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. And you already know what the 9 means. It means an ending cycle. So what's ending? All of a sudden they're letting us know that they've been in contact with certain things. All of a sudden they're letting us know that they tried to shoot down a UFO over here, but we couldn't do it because the UFO was too fast. All of a sudden they're letting us know that a 3-eye atlas should be arriving here. All of a sudden the Pentagon is saying that the Anunnaki is supposed to be here in a couple of years, or a couple of months, or you already know what it is. Whatever it is that's about to happen, trust and believe, it's not a mystery to them. They knew already. So again, you better protect your peace because shit is about to get crazy. I'm out.
You gotta be prepared.
Hold your phone in your hand while it's on the charger. I'm finna show you how much damage you could be doing to your body.
Give me your hand.
Video.
Shit's not electricity.
Electricity.
Okay, now pick up that phone. Alright, hold out your other hand. Watch this. Now, wait. Give me your hand. Put it in Shiloh's hand. Hold it. Give me this hand. Watch. That electricity's going through both of them. Is it safe to hold your phone while it's charging? I don't know.
It's probably why they tell you to never sleep in the bed next to a charging phone. The electrical charge so strong that even if you cuddling with your partner, the electrical charge can go through them until you die of follow. But y'all let me know in the comments. Is you one of them people who be holding your phone while it's charging? Like or follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. And remember, if you want the resources to learn how to build your personal brand and get paid to make videos just like this, comment down below ATM and I'm gonna send the best in your DMs.
Not no more.
Cursing people through like his street performance. What? A guy in Italy, in Florence. Oh, it's crazy. What happened? So 2 guys who are really like into Christianity and stuff like that, they walk around and they see the guy, right? And they notice something. After the pose, he always finds a way to grab their hand and put his hand on top of their head. And then they saw his eyes fluttering. Oh, underneath his eyelids. They went back to the room and they said, oh God, next time I see him, can you show me what's going on with this person? Because there's already bad energy. They go back. They see the guy still doing that to people. And he said the Holy Spirit showed him cobwebs over him. You know what cobwebs in the spiritual realm? That's witchcraft.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, in the spirit realm, like this man was just surrounded by what looked like a lot of swirling dark clouds made out of like shadowy spider webs. Spider webs in the spirit realm are always symbolic. It's always witchcraft. It's like what witchcraft looks like in the spirit realm.
So he's doing curses, and whenever they walk away, they see the same cobwebs over that person. Oh, that's crazy. It's a trap, fam.
He chopping people.
This is the oldest guy to be sentenced to life in prison. This guy's name is John Buns. He ended up being sent to prison for murdering his 89-year-old wife. He hit his wife over 30 times with a hammer. He then pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter. Before murdering his wife, he's always been a law-abiding citizen, and his sudden turn to violence will always be a mystery. And after he realized what he had done, Buns spent most of his time in the medical unit before passing away in 2013. This man claims he's from a country that doesn't exist, and people think that this could be proof of a parallel universe. A businessman in 1954 entered a Tokyo airport and was asked to hand over his passport. His passport stated that he was actually from a country named Torad, and it even had stamps from other countries proving he has been there. But the thing is, Torad isn't even a country. Very confused, the custom workers had him point to the map where Torad was located, and this is where he pointed. The country he pointed to is known as Andorra, but the thing is, he said that the map was actually wrong. The man said that he frequently flew between Torad and Tokyo. Since Customs could not pinpoint exactly where he's from, Customs actually detained him and put him in a hotel room to actually find out where he's from. Even though the guards haven't left the door once, in the morning when they opened up the door, him and his belongings were gone.
Let's
Where'd he
pretend
go?
that all the cash in the world disappeared. Now, the only money in the world is digital money, cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency exists only on electronic registers, which carry information about quantity, payments, and other transactions. After all cash is out of circulation, banks will look something like a regular old SSD drive. Instead of keeping gold bars in safes, people will now put their laptops and ledgers with cryptocurrency inside. The modern version of gold is now Bitcoin. The supply of Bitcoins is limited to a maximum of 21 million, of which about 19 million have already been mined. And if in the ancient world everyone tried to acquire more land in order to graze cattle there, grow crops, now everyone is striving to get their hands on a video card. The more powerful the better, to start mining cryptocurrency. Mining of cryptocurrency involves processing a complex mathematical calculation, which adds transaction records to the so-called blockchain. Upon choosing the right combination of numbers, the miner receives a reward for a smidgen of the cryptocurrency. Yesterday, you were rich, Arnold. Today, you're fighting a bum for 2/10,000ths of a Bitcoin. Arnold.
This is everything we know about the David situation compiled into one video. So the music video for his song Romantic Homicide was posted on the birthday of the girl that was found in his car. Which, speaking of that girl and his music videos, he has used a girl in his videos that looks suspiciously similar to the girl that was found in his car. David also has a leaked song called Celeste where he talks about being obsessed with a girl called Celeste. The girl found in David's Tesla was named, you guessed it, Celeste. There are also different photos that are released of David in person with this Celeste girl, you know, the one that was found in his car. The mom of the Celeste girl said that she was dating a guy named David before she went missing. David and the girl that was found in his car both share a matching tattoo on the same finger. There are also pictures coming out allegedly showing David paying people off to not talk about the fact that he is into younger girls. There's also the fact that the lyrics of Romantic Homicide, one of his most popular songs, kind of eerily mirror the situation that he's in now. Now, the only defense that David really had that he didn't do this was the fact that he's on tour, but the more evidence that comes out, the more that alibi kind of falls apart.
I want people to understand that we do not live on
crazy
a planet.
case.
We live on a corporation. The people that control this world, they sold us out to these people right here. These great aliens, along with other ETs, made a deal or a contract with the people that control this planet. The contract listed, we will let you take certain people if you give us technology. That's why we hear about some people being abducted, some people never coming back. A part of the contract was you can take these people, but just don't hurt them. I mean, you can hurt them, but make sure you erase their memory so they don't remember the pain. These are the life forms that we can't see, but yet they control everything behind the scenes. Who do you think created the Matrix? Who do you think gave us the moon? If you pay attention to these great aliens, they actually are the same color as the moon. Maybe because they watch us from the moon. If you start to listen to people's stories about being abducted by aliens, they always say they was tortured. But if you ask a black person, they say, no, I wasn't tortured. So the question is, why don't black people get tortured when they get abducted by aliens? Kind of seem like the aliens are happy to see us. I just want people to understand. The reason why black people don't get tortured when they get abducted by the aliens is because black people are really aliens. We are the aliens that lost our memory. Now we are enslaved. The reason why we are enslaved is because we are not home. Remember this famous dream work?
Hey y'all, it's happening again.
Okay.
It's happening again, and no one yet has an explanation as to why this keeps on happening. Y'all remember over the years, we kept on seeing these videos of animals freezing in real time. We seen it happen to chickens. We seen it happen to ducks. And now it's currently happening to this lady, these horses out in Texas. She said it started raining and drizzling out of nowhere, right? And instead of the horses going to find shelter in that barn right over there, they just stood there, stuck, not going anywhere, y'all. This video is crazy. Check it out.
All right.
My choices are frozen in time.
How do you explain that, y'all?
You can't.
There's that barn over there for them to go seek shelter, but instead they're just stuck in the rain, not going anywhere. So what is this about? Can anybody explain what this is about? So what y'all think this is? Some type of dimensional split? Some type of manipulation? A thinning of the veils? I mean, I'm just as clueless as to you are, but there's a reason why this is happening to these animals. And let me know down in the comments below, y'all. But like I told y'all, the shit is here. Let's continue to get it.
Is gone. The person you see in that video isn't the same anymore. Dude, who even is this woman? That is not the Jenna Ortega we all remember. She showed up like this in London at the premiere of season 2 of Wednesday. Look at this. This was Jenna Ortega maybe 2 years ago, before the whole transformation started. And even here, she still looked like her. There was light in her eyes. Her face had life. She had a real personality. But since that premiere, everything's just off. She lost everything that made her glow. And that jawline, it literally broke the internet. What the hell is going on with all these celebrities transforming like this? There's a leaked video of Jenna Ortega that just came out, and you can clearly tell something's not right. If you want to see that video before it gets taken down, tap share, then tap more and open it in your browser. I don't get how people aren't seeing the difference between this Jenna Ortega and the new Jenna Ortega. How does someone with so much potential, so much natural beauty, ruin her appearance like that? Something dark is happening, but who's behind it all? What the hell is going on in Hollywood?
Have you guys heard the story of the woman who got swallowed by a python in Indonesia? If not, I'd stick around. In October of 2022, a 54-year-old Indonesian woman by the name of Jara was walking through the forest to her job at a local rubber plant when she disappeared and didn't return home for 2 days. The family then grew worrisome, and after the husband of the woman actually went out looking for her and all he found were her tools and the clothing that she was wearing when she disappeared, he actually called together a search party to find his missing wife. During the search party, local villagers that were helping the family find their relative actually spotted a 16-foot python that had a very swollen stomach and seemed to be carrying something quite large. As soon as the villagers spotted the snake, they decided to unalive it and cut it open to see what the snake had inside of its stomach. And when they did, everyone was astonished at what they found. It had been discovered that the 54-year-old woman had been swallowed whole by the python. And the scary thing is, this isn't the first time this has happened in Indonesia. Y'all, she was swallowed whole. I just wanted to repeat that. Down to the snake right there that was cut open. Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. And I'm not going to give y'all a history lesson, but in simple terms, snakes have very flexible ligaments inside of their jaws that allows them to wrap around huge prey. And it just so happened that this 54-year-old Indonesian woman was the prey this time. So that finalized me never going to Indonesia, ever.
This
Me too. I ain't going.
is horrifying. The rules are simple. 50 boys, 3 miles an hour, but if you stop walking, you die. And even though there's no finish line, no one knows how far the road goes, the only way to win is to be the last one alive. And with every mile, more boys are eliminated as the crowd cheers for who they think will be the champion. But why would anyone enter a contest like this? Is it because the prize is anything you could ever dream of, or because the only thing worse than dying is living the life that you walked away from? Some of the boys are doing it for the money. Some are doing it for the fame. But some of them just simply have nothing to lose. But if you want to see who's going to become the winner, and just how far they have to go, check out The Long Walk, in theaters September 12th. And guys, let me know, how far could you go?
Here are some Halloween
Not
costumes
that far.
that need to retire ASAP. We've beaten them to death.
Leading the pack, we have The Purge. First of all, if you think you're gonna survive The Purge in a crop top and high heels, honey, you got a big storm coming. Can we all agree that this has just fallen into the category of lazy costumes when you have nothing else to be? Move on. Next up, we have the frat bro. Let's be honest, I have never seen a frat brother wearing a tie at a party. And button-downs and hats are only occasional. People who dress as this have never actually been to a frat party. Where are the vomit-covered jerseys and court cases? Then we have the laziest, most basic of all, the angel and the devil. Who are we fooling? We're all going to hell anyway. Sometimes these could be really good, but most times not. Next up, we have the Eminem group costume. I love M&Ms, but this lazy-ass costume makes me wish they never existed. Let's get more creative. Let's be left Twix and right Twix. And lastly, we have any costume that involves ears. If you just wear the ears, it doesn't fucking count. Boo!
I ain't gonna lie, yeah. Those costumes. If you wear those, man, you're OG. We're here. In the middle of the night, nowhere, brick road. Pitch black. Wouldn't be me.
The Rarest Creatures on Earth, Part 2. Snowflake was an albino gorilla that used to live at Barcelona Zoo in Spain. Sadly, he was euthanized in 2003 after being diagnosed with a rare form of skin cancer, likely as a result of his condition. He was the world's only known albino gorilla. Wow. The blue dragon is the rarest mollusk in the world and looks like something from outer space. Speaking of aliens, this octopus with 85 tentacles was found near Japan in 1957. This cat suffers from myostatin-related hypertrophy, a very rare condition that causes the muscles to grow excessively large. But he's still no match for Hercules the 900-pound liger, who's officially recognized as the largest cat in the world. He lives at a wildlife preserve called Myrtle Beach Safari in South Carolina. In 2011, the red-crested tree rat was thought to be extinct for 113 years until it casually appeared on the handrail of an eco-lodge in Colombia. It let researchers photograph it for more than 2 hours before disappearing into the night, never to be seen again.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. John said that back in the 80s, when he was a young patrol officer in Phoenix, Arizona, he was the first to arrive at a motorcycle accident. The Harley Davidson was torn apart across the asphalt. The rider, a big man with a thick beard and arms covered in tattoos, lay crumpled beside the wreck. His chest looked wrong, sunken in. Each breath, a desperate gasp. I need to go to confession, he choked out, blood bubbling at the corner of his mouth. Should have gone yesterday, he said. John said that he knelt beside him, trying to keep him talking, but the man's eyes were wide, darting at things that John couldn't see. I've done terrible things, he said. Murder. It's coming for me. His voice broke into a panic chant. Please, God, help me. God, please help me. Then softer. It says my soul belongs to him now. It has horns. John said that his last words came out in a trembling whisper. I'm going to hell, he said. And with the word hell, the man's body gave one last shudder and went still, his expression frozen in horror. The paramedics pulled up less than a minute later, but John knew that they were already too late.
Is the zombie from Wednesday Season 2 secretly Thing the Hand? There's a book called Addams Family and Evolution that shows that Thing used to be a full-bodied person. I circled him on the cover of the book. I can't find any photos, but apparently he had 8 legs. Thing was considered to be the family's helping hand, and he would basically hide in the shadows silently and then jump into action when the family would need him. In the 50s, the creators leaned into like the creepy, mysterious vibe of the character, and they made him just a helping hand. Same with the film in the 90s, and even now in 2025, Wednesday tells Enid that Thing is one of the Addams family's biggest secret. But how does the zombie fit into all of this? This is the only photo of the book I can find online, so I am just going by other people's word of mouth that this character has 8 legs. And clearly the zombie doesn't have 8 legs. But here's the thing, Slurp only uses his left hand, and Thing is a right hand, and he fully does not have a right hand. And that's where this theory really stems from. Maybe Slurp's right hand is out there doing its own thing. And we have to think about Slurp's reaction during the Willow Hill breakout. His startled, scared reaction might be that he realizes that his missing body part has gained its own agency. Another really big thing to note is Thing emerges from the skull tree, and that's huge. This is the tree that is tied to Slurp's origin story. So it makes sense for the storytelling if a part of him is literally like coming out of it. It's a little clue for the viewer. Do you think Thing is Slurp's right hand? Let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure this lines up with the Addams Family lore necessarily, but I think if the show is doing its own thing, this could work. Follow for more.
Now, of course, Google will tell you these inventors were nothing but con men, liars, frauds, or just scientists with great ideas who didn't know any better. It will also tell you 0-point energy is impossible, and anyone who stands up for it or even talks about it is attacked or shamed for spreading misinformation. Google debunkers, compliant NPCs who believe they can irrefutably debunk any extreme claim with a 5-second Google search, truly are the downfall of society. The modern-day version of Vladimir Lenin's useful idiot. Google debunkers. Love you guys. You're not allowed to talk like that. You present your theories as if they are fact.
The most famous actor in the world spends $30,000 a day to stay alive, even though he no longer has the strength to open a simple bottle. We all know Daniel Radcliffe, the legendary star of Harry Potter, but what nobody knows is that he is fighting an incurable disease. He may have a $450 million fortune and lots of real estate, but that is not what will save him. His castle even had to be turned into a medical center with a team of nurses on site every day for him. He supposedly even bought a volcanic island in Hawaii to slow his muscle loss. He has tried everything money can buy: experimental therapies, holy waters, cold chambers. His hands shake so much he can no longer hold a glass of water, and his eyes shine as if he were already looking at the next world. But even with all that, he has donated millions of dollars to ALS research. His life has become a full-time survival mission, yet he still uses his last strength and his fortune to give other patients a better chance at the future. He is a legend to everyone, and he will remain a legend even after he's gone. Leave your wishes for Daniel below before it is too late.
Switzerland.
Is that cap? Pretty sure that would be on the news or something, man. It's my first time hearing about that, so I'm going to dig deep on that one.
Are quietly preparing for the end of the world. They've been hustling for decades. You wouldn't know it by just looking at them, but underneath around 60% of the Swiss Alps, they've built a city of doomsday bunkers that can protect hundreds of thousands of people in a catastrophic event. In fact, Switzerland is the only country in the world that can house their entire population, 8.7 million people, in a secure bunker. And they're not just old, forgotten World War II structures slowly crumbling away. They are continuously updated and restocked with supplies till this day. You see, Switzerland decided they needed to, excuse the pun, lock in after Germany promised to not invade them during World War II. They not only transformed the peaceful Swiss Alps into an absolute fortress and rigged it with enough explosives to collapse entire mountainsides, but the Swiss government also made it a law for homes, schools, hospitals, and other public buildings to install protective shelters, and that policy remains till this day, meaning the entire country is designed in a way that wherever you go, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or a friend's house, there's always a doomsday bunker nearby. According to official figures, Switzerland currently has around 300,000 bunkers across the country, which can accommodate roughly 9.3 million people. That's over 500,000 more than the country's current population. And once they're safely inside, they can even remotely detonate things like roads, bridges, tunnels, and railways to keep out invaders, or I guess, the unprepared.
Disturbing history facts that school did not teach you. During medieval times, some women would shove live fish inside their bodies, if you know what I mean, and wait until the fish died inside them before cooking and serving it to their husbands. It was believed that this would increase their husband's love for them. Mother Teresa encouraged sick patients to suffer, but went straight to the hospital when she was ill. She is regarded by many as a saint for her dedication to helping the poor and sick in India. She believed suffering was a gift from God and encouraged her patients to accept it as a way to get closer to Jesus. However, when she herself fell ill with heart problems, she chose to get treated in modern hospitals. Charlie Chaplin met his future wife when she was 12 and he was 31. They first crossed paths on the set of the movie The Kid in 1920. 4 years later, due to Lyda Gray's pregnancy, they got married when she was only 16 years old. Their turbulent union eventually resulted in one of the most expensive divorces of their time.
Okay. That was eerie. Those facts, man. Shocking, man. Especially about that last one, about that marriage. That threw me for a whirl. Where is he at? Is that like a haunted tunnel? Oh, see, I won't be there, bro.
Could The Rock actually become the next US president? Well, that's exactly what a lot of people are talking about today, because recently his odds of becoming the Democrats' next presidential nominee have surged on Polymarket above even Michelle Obama and Tim Walz. Now, realistically, his odds are still only sitting at about 2 to 3%, with Gavin Newsom and AOC being by far the top two contenders. But the crazy part is that he's up there without even saying that he's running. He has, although, dropped sneaky little hints. For example, in 2022, a poll came out that 46% of Americans would support his presidential run, and then he revealed that after that poll came out, multiple political parties approached him to see if he would run for US president in 2024. In 2016, he told GQ, "I can't deny the thought of being a governor or president is alluring." And then just a year later, he told Variety that the 2024 presidential campaign was a realistic consideration. Now, he mentioned what stopped him was his kids. He doesn't want them to be dragged into politics. But he still left the door slightly open, because he told Trevor Noah in a podcast, if that's
ultimately what the people would want, then of course I would consider it.
And hypothetically, if he did run in 2028, the current odds say that he'd be up against JD Vance. So the question is Dwayne Johnson exactly what the Democrats need right now, or would AOC and Gavin Newsom be a better option?
Imagine being resurrected from the dead only to bomb harder than you did at this kid's birthday party. The worst horror movies I've ever seen. And this one's tagline is literally Bad Clown. This movie starts with a clown getting busy in his camper while staring at a creepy egg with a face on it. Cut to Stitches, the clown arriving late to a kid's birthday party. And instead of being funny, the kids end up pranking him. They tie his shoelaces together, and one throws a soccer ball at his face. He trips, lands on a knife sticking up from a dishwasher, and somehow survives long enough to try kid who pranks him, but he then slips on the blood and dies. And that sets the tone for the rest of this film. Years later, a clown cult comes and they resurrect him using an egg ritual, because apparently if a clown dies mid-party, he cannot rest in peace. Flash forward to the future, and these kids from the birthday party are now teenagers who are throwing another birthday party. Stitches comes back fully unhinged, to say the least. The kills try to be outrageous, but it feels like a rejected Goosebumps idea filtered through a Hot Topic discount bin, and the tone is all over the place. It's like the movie couldn't decide if it was horror, a comedy, or a PSA about why you shouldn't bully kids with bad haircuts. And on top of that, out of nowhere, Stitches ends the cat. It was just like so unnecessary. And when I was watching it, my cat was sitting on my lap and he looked at me. He was like, Kane Hodder would never. Ross Noble deserves jail for this accent alone. Or maybe I do for thinking I would enjoy this. These are a few reasons why Stitches is one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. Let me know your least favorite and follow for more.
The world's most unsolved mystery.
Right.
This picture represents mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest. Some of these mysteries have never been solved and never will. For this series, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, the point of no return. Okay, so tier 1. Today we're going to be talking about the Beast of Jean Vidal. Between 1764 and 1767, a huge beast killed over 100 people in southeastern France. It was described as being a large cow with razor-sharp teeth. If you think this is just a myth or a legend, you're wrong. This actually happened. In fact, there were so many witnesses that they were able to well document this entire thing. The first attack occurred when a woman was walking with her bulls. The beast charged the bulls, and the bulls were able to fight off this beast with their horns. The woman described it as a huge chest with razor-sharp teeth, tail way longer than a wolf, and horns on its head. This beast was so dangerous that it would appear on people's doorsteps, and when they would open the door, it would tear their feet right off. Not only that, but 80% of the victims victims either had their throat torn out or their head cut off. And sometimes it would even carry the bodies away, leaving little trails of body parts. Now onto the theories. The first theory is it's nothing more than a wolf. One of the reasons people say that this theory isn't true is because of the way they described it. Not only are the physical characteristics different, but the attacks themselves as well. Wolves don't typically attack full-grown men because they're afraid. But this beast killed over 100 people. The second theory is maybe it was a lion. This is one of the most popular theories, but to me it doesn't sit right because how could a lion get to the southeastern of France? The third theory, which I think is the scariest, is this was something we've never seen before. Which leaves the question, was this just a wolf or a lion, or was this something much darker? Make sure to like and follow because we have a lot more to learn.
It's my head turning. Wolf or a lion? What do you guys think, Seekers? Like you said, it won't make sense for them to be in that part of the region, so could it be something undiscovered? Is that a hotel at night? Oh no, something in that bed, bro. It's haunted.
What does plutonium taste like? This man found out. Los Alamos, 1944. Donald Mastic was working in a high-security lab helping to develop the atomic bomb. Then an accident would change his life forever. Picking up a glass container, it exploded and covered him in an acidic liquid. That container held a microscopic amount of plutonium. Noticing the acidic taste that filled his mouth, Donald knew he was in deep trouble. Even 30 years later, trace amounts of plutonium was still detectable in Donald, but he lived until he was 87.
Wow, what the heck? Imagine if we could swallow plutonium. He lived to 87? I thought it would have been over. But he said it was just trace amounts. Oh, but, gotta be careful working on those labs. Is that a man taking a picture of it erupting?
He took the life of this 74-year-old man because he got dumped.
Do you say Joy Lane?
What?
Do you say Joy Lane?
Joy Lane?
Yeah. She's the reason why this is about to happen to you.
On April 16th of 2017, 74-year-old Robert Godwin Sr. had just finished an Easter lunch with his family. He was seen walking around the Glenville neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, collecting cans. Robert was then randomly approached by 37-year-old Steve Stevens. Steve worked as a case manager at a behavioral health agency, and his friend stated that he had money problems, gambling issues, and a recent breakup with his girlfriend, Joy Lane. Earlier that day, Steve was recording himself talking about how his life was falling apart and he really wanted to unalive someone because of his breakup. That was when Steven spotted Robert. He went up to Robert, recording him, asking him to say the name Joy Lane. Robert looked very confused because he didn't know anyone by that name. But Steve told him that she was the reason that this was going to happen to him. Moments later, Steve shot Robert right in the head and he collapsed. Steve filmed the whole thing on his phone and then uploaded it onto Facebook so that everyone could see. Steve quickly fled the scene and left Robert there to die. The video ended up being taken down about 2 hours later and Steve was on the run. 2 days later, Steve was spotted in a McDonald's drive-thru in Erie, Pennsylvania. The workers had recognized him and purposely stalled his order so that they had time to call police. Police arrived quickly, but before he could be arrested, September of 2017, part of 146 East Street was renamed Robert Godwin Sr. Way. Robert's children, especially his daughter, forgive Steve because they were raised to live by faith and forgiveness. Robert Godwin Sr. is remembered as a kind man, a father of 8, a grandfather of 14, and even a great-grandfather, and a man of faith.
Do you have scopophobia? Let's find out. I'm going to show you 5 photos. Let's see if you can make it to the end. First one.
I'm cool.
How about this?
Still good.
Feeling uneasy yet? Almost there. Last one.
I'm cool, bro. They was just looking at me.
These are some of the rarest animals in the world. Once thought to be a separate subspecies, the king cheetah is an African cheetah with a rare mutation of the fur. First discovered in 1926, this badass freak of nature has only been seen in the wild 6 times. A Maine fisherman found this extremely rare translucent lobster. Scientists say about 1 in every 100 million lobsters is colored this way. The world's rarest marine mammal is a small porpoise known as the vaquita, and it's on the brink of extinction. Discovered in 1958, there may only be about 10 of them left in existence. Here are some pics taken off the coast of Australia of the only albino humpback whale in the world. The famous whale is named Migaloo, and being this close to him can fetch you a $16,000 fine. It's extremely rare for axolotls to go through a phase called morphing, where they lose their gills and webbed feet and essentially evolve into a land creature. But it still happens occasionally as a result of dormant genes from their ancestors, like what happened to this one named Gollum.
Millie Bobby Brown just became a mom. So Millie and her husband, Jake Bon Jovi, just announced that they adopted a baby girl. Since the announcement, everyone is kind of freaking out since most people kind of grew up with Millie. We all saw her as a kid on Stranger Things, but now she is a married mother of one before the show is even over. But congrats to Millie and Jake for becoming new parents.
Congrats.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 46. Although pigs seem cute and innocent, they will eat just about anything, and that includes human remains and the bones that come along with it. And yes, it has happened before. Your chances of dying on your birthday are actually 6.7% higher than any other day. Happy birthday to you, am I right? Back during the 18th century, doctors would practice something called bloodletting, where they would actually drain their patients' blood because they believed they accumulated too much and that's what was causing their mental illnesses. And lastly, there's something known as postpartum depression that will cause mood swings, feelings of anger, and sometimes even a worry that you're going to kill your own baby.
Those are some facts. He was right. So those are some facts we didn't want to know. Well, people be out in the street in the middle of the night, man. I don't get how they could ever do that. You gotta be careful, man. You never know what's lurking out in the dark.
This author got a 1-star review on his book and went searching for that person. 18-year-old Paige Rowland was a nursing student from Scotland, and she often loved reading. That same year, she was excited to stumble upon a brand new book called The World Bros. The plot followed the main character, a young girl named Ella, looking for true love and facing the challenges along the way. The book was a self-published novel by 28-year-old Richard Britton. Aside from being an author, from 2006 to 2007, he appeared on many daytime TV game shows. Although he seemed like a bright young man, he was actually a dark and sinister individual. In 2012, Richard had attended college in London, and this is when his attention was caught by a girl named Ella. Once he became friends with this girl, he asked if she would like to be a part of his university quiz team, and she accepted. He gave Ella an application form to fill out, all with personal details, including her address. Now that Richard had all of her personal information, he would send her Valentine's Day cards, added her on Facebook, and it would even show up at her workplace. Ella made it clear to Richard that she was not interested in him, but he did not want to hear any of it. Richard ended up leaving multiple voicemails on Ella's phone expressing his love for her. It got so bad for Ella that she had to relocate 400 miles away just so she wouldn't have to encounter Richard, and she had to involve the police 2 times. At this point, finally, Richard just accepted his defeat. On the other hand, Paige just finished reading Richard's book and was not impressed at all and decided she was going to write a review on Goodreads. In the review, she stated that she was unimpressed with the writing and grammatical errors and gave him a 1-star review. And once Richard saw this 1-star review, he was enraged and was not going to let anyone criticize his book. Richard took Paige's name from the Goodreads account and found her on Facebook, and that is where he saw that she was from Scotland and also found where she worked. Richard made a 400-mile trip to Scotland to hopefully find Paige. On October 3rd of 2014, Richard arrived at the supermarket where Paige worked, and he looked through every aisle to search for her. As Richard was looking through every aisle looking for Paige, he found her restocking the shelves. He grabbed a bottle of wine and snuck up behind Paige. Richard was consumed with anger and a need for revenge, so he hit Paige's head with that bottle with as much strength as he could. Once he did that, he fled the scene, and Paige was seen lying in a pool of her own blood. CCTV footage was recovered from the store, and it didn't take police long enough to find Richard. Richard was arrested and charged with the assault of Paige and the stalking of Ella. In November of 2015, he pled guilty to both charges and was sentenced to 30 months in prison. Luckily, Paige survived the attack, and just like Ella, she moved away as well. Once Richard was released from prison, he sent Paige a private Facebook message that he wanted to go visit her again. Although Richard was told not to contact his victims again, Paige reported this to police, but they decided not to press any kind of charges due to his mental health.
Here's everything you missed in pop culture this past week. Lil Nas X is making headlines after TMZ obtained footage of him roaming around the streets of LA at 4 o'clock in the morning wearing nothing but underwear and cowboy boots. That's it. Now, I won't be showing any of the photos or videos of him from this night because I think that's just weird, but it was later reported that police arrived on the scene to make contact with Lil Nas X, and when they approached him, he charged at them. He was reportedly then restrained, put in handcuffs, and paramedics were alerted, where he was then transported to a local hospital to be treated for a possible overdose. After a short evaluation, he was then arrested on suspicion of battery on a police officer and booked into jail. Lil Nas X will remain in jail until at least Monday, when a judge is expected to review his case and decide on bail. We have so much Doja Cat news this week, as Doja Cat announced her Tour Ma Vie World Tour that will kick off on November 18th in Auckland. Now, currently there are only a few international dates, but more dates are going to be announced soon. On top of that, Doja has released her long-awaited single Jealous Type alongside its music video, and it is everything I wanted and more. And in a recent interview with Zane Lowe, Doja Cat actually teased that she is rehearsing for some very fun stuff before being told off camera to not mention anything. Now, a lot of fans are speculating that Doja Cat might be doing Super Bowl 2026, which, hey, I would love a Doja Cat halftime show performance, but I feel like that's a long time away to be this delusional. But the next thing closest is the MTV Video Music Awards, and I feel like she might be rehearsing for a surprise performance. Aubrey Plaza appeared on Amy Poehler's Good Hang podcast in her first interview since the loss of her husband. Aubrey Plaza spoke candidly about grief, revealing that it is a daily struggle, but she's grateful to be moving through the world. Sydney Sweeney has obviously been receiving a ton of backlash these past few months, but she has finally addressed the haters for her Dr. Squatch bathwater soap. Sydney stated, "It was mainly the girls making comments about it, which I thought was really interesting. They all loved the idea of Jacob Elordi's bathwater. I guess that's one way to go about it, but Sydney, I want to know what you think of the American Eagle backlash." Before I continue, if you like these pop culture recaps, make sure to follow me for more. Speaking of American Eagle, Gap showed them how to make a denim ad the right way when they tapped Cat's Eye to be the face of their Better in Denim campaign. In the ad campaign, Cat's Eye was styled in all denim while dancing to Khalees's Milkshake, and it was everything. Addison Rae has received 0 nominations at this year's MTV Video Music Awards, and here's what she had to say. Addison stated, "It's definitely funny when you feel like you put a lot of work into something and it doesn't get recognized by some place that you feel like you were contributing to. Say what you want about her music, I feel like it's made a ton of noise, and it's actually pretty good, and she was making a ton of noise at the VMAs last year, so yes, this is very confusing." Speaking of the VMAs have revealed that Mariah Carey will be this year's Video Vanguard recipient, and she will do a career-spanning medley of some of her best hits. I am so excited for this performance, and honestly, I could not think of anybody else who would get the Vanguard this year, so it's only fitting that it's Mariah Carey. Christian Girl Autumn influencer Caitlin Covington went viral after she posted a video of herself crying, stating that she cannot make any fall content this year, citing that she felt a ton of pressure to follow up her last year videos, and also that she needed a break. And shockingly, this sent everybody into a tizzy, saying fall is cancelled. However, it was all a lie when Caitlin followed it up with a video stating, "Just kidding, fall is here." Whew, thank God. Congratulations are in order for Millie Bobby Brown and Jake Bon Jovi, as they've announced that they've welcomed a baby girl through adoption. Really devastating news, as Frank Caprio, the man who became known as America's nicest judge for his empathy, his humor, and understanding when handling cases, has sadly passed away at the age of 88. This one hurt. Eric Menendez has been denied parole for the 1989 aliving of his parents. His brother, Lyle Menendez, at the time of this video being posted, is still currently waiting in front of a California parole panel to hear his fate. And lastly, this is kind of insane, a California resident has tested positive for the plague. Health officials believe that they contracted the plague after being bit by an infected flea while
You won't believe this kid exists. Arya Pramana weighs over 400 pounds. His family says he doesn't do anything but eat and sleep. His mom said she wanted to find a medical reason why he looked like that. But it turns out Arya was just eating 2 plates 5 times a day. Before I continue, I know an app just like TikTok just in case it gets banned. Link is in my bio. Arya's family has put him on a strict diet ever since. And it's actually working.
I still can't get over the fact that this woman was released from prison after she drugged her little sister, gave her to her husband so he could test her and take her life. Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka were called the Barbie and Ken killed and committed one of the most horrific crimes together. They told us and took the lives of these 3 innocent young teens in the early 90s. 15-year-old Kristen French was one of their victims. She was abducted in a church parking lot while Carla pretended to ask her for directions. Paul forced her into their car. In another case, 14-year-old Leslie Mahaffey was abducted while she waited outside of her house. This was Carla's younger sister, Tammy, and one day Paul told Carla that he wanted her, so she tricked her sister and gave her to Paul to do whatever he wants with her. The girls were tortured for days and disgusting things were done to them while they videotaped everything. Together, they dismembered their bodies and then threw them in a lake. Now, while Paul got life in prison, Carla was able to walk free after 12 years. But not only that, after her release, she changed her name and she was caught working at a private elementary school in Montreal. Her job was to supervise kindergarten students, and when their parents found out, they were pissed off. And I don't blame them, because I wouldn't want this person looking after my children either. This was one of the biggest cases in the world, especially in Canada, because of how disturbing their crimes were. People are still confused on how Carla was able to get such a good deal while Paul was denied parole 3 times and will most likely spend the rest of his life in prison.
Here are some kids' toys that got banned for being too dangerous. This toy, called a Jibba Jabber. The object of this toy was to beat it up. It was pulled from the shelves after being linked to making kids want to strangle each other. Pokemon and Burger King partnered up and made these tiny keychain Pokeballs with no holes in it for like a child to breathe that might try to eat the toy, because that's what kids do. They just eat tiny things. Kids fucking died from these. Moon shoes were like these half buckets with rubber bands and Velcro to keep your feet attached to them. And it was capable of launching a child like feet into the air. So many kids broke their ankles and cracked their skulls because of these. I remember I got them for Christmas and then my parents immediately took them away. This Quick Click Polly Pocket set were tiny pieces of plastic with magnets embedded into them. Sounds yummy. Definitely not like we're taking a trip to the hospital.
Those kids, man. With those toys. I didn't even know about the moon shoes. I think I remember seeing them. All those discontinued toys, man. It goes to show you, man. When people think there's money involved, man, they really don't think about the safety, man. The kids of their product.
Wholesome facts that'll make your day slightly better. Part 2. If you've already made it to the airport without dying, you shouldn't be nervous about flying, because you've already made it through the deadliest part of plane travel. Whenever you pet an animal, it actually lowers your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. Side note, this may not work on electric eels, porcupines, or anything that could decimate you in 2 seconds.
You think?
Because guinea pigs get lonely, it's actually illegal in Switzerland to own just one. You have to get at least 2 if you want to have any at all. Sometimes tarantulas will keep tiny frogs as pets. The frogs will eat small insects that would typically eat the tarantula eggs, and in exchange, the frog gets a pretty damn good bodyguard. Capybara Land is a place in Japan where you can quite literally hang out with capybaras and see them chilling in hot springs. If 99% of the world's population finds you unattractive, that would mean that 78 million people still find you attractive.
Ants can live a really long time. Like, way longer than I thought. Your normal everyday ant can live like 4 to 15 years. And there have been queens on record living up to 28 years. Next time I have to step on an ant, I'm really going to be like mourning their whole ass life. This is the hog-nosed snake, and when it feels threatened, it'll puff itself up and hiss at you. But if that doesn't work, it'll flip itself over and play dead. And if you take the snake and flip it from its back to its belly, it'll just flip itself back over. Like, no, I'm supposed to be dead. Penguins are able to drink salt water like it's fresh water because they have this gland behind their eyes that actually filters their blood and allows them to sneeze the salt out. Now, I'm not saying that we need to hire a bunch of penguins to save the world or whatever, but it's an option.
Happy feet
The
domination,
rarest
man.
things in the world. Rarest animal, vaquita, only 10 left in the wild. Rarest gem on earth, painite, worth $60,000 per carat. Rarest poker hand, the royal flush, 1 in 655,000 chance. Rarest element on earth, as the time, less than 1 gram on earth exists. Rarest car, Ferrari 250 Gran Turismo.
These are some of the most terrifying illnesses that you could get tomorrow.
Giants caught on tape part 1. People used to tell stories about ancient giants who used to walk around the earth with humans. Some people say they lived with us as friends and some say they ate us. These giants were called Nephilim, mentioned in the Bible. This is supposed to be a picture in 1890 of one of them. And yes, this is real footage of him walking around Japan in a parade. Look how big he is compared to all the little people. Even the horses. Look at him towering over everybody. How much did this guy need to eat to be full? So what do you guys think? Is this fake? Or are they real, hiding in places we'll just never be able to find? I got more giant.
Think giants are out there, man? Maybe back in the day, I guess they were like so tall, people considered them giants. I guess that's my only explanation to explain that.
Footage, so like this video for a part 2.
Crazy facts about cigarettes. 1 cigarette can reduce your lifespan up to 11 minutes. Out of 10 smokers, 9 started before age 18. A smoker's life expectancy is 10 years less than a non-smoker. When a cigarette is burned, 7,000 chemicals are activated. Nauru has the highest smoking rate at 52%.
Imagine
Don't smoke.
finding a box that someone chained shut and threw into the ocean. Curious about what could be inside it, you take the box home and leave it in your shed. But as you're having dinner, you hear noises outside your front door. And when you open the door to check, you see that the box is somehow right there. Who's out there, you yell, thinking someone must have taken it from the shed and dropped it at your front door. You bring the box inside and put it on your table, and that's when you see the box is moving by itself. That's enough, you tell yourself, and you throw the box outside and go to sleep. But in the middle of the night, you suddenly wake up with something stuck inside your throat. You rush to the bathroom, coughing uncontrollably until you spit out a key. Confused and terrified, you leave the bathroom only to see an even more unbelievable sight. The box has somehow appeared in the middle of your hallway. So do you use the key to open the box and finally find out what's inside of it? This short film is called Mystery Box, and it was such a strange and unique story that I really enjoyed. Definitely check this one out and follow for more.
This surveillance camera caught this 73-year-old's final moments before he was murdered by this man over a $20,000 Rolex. And you guys won't believe this, but this guy who took his life did this all because he wanted to gift his girlfriend something nice for Christmas. This all happened last month when 56-year-old Nenad Milosevic met with his friend 73-year-old Anthony at around 10 p.m. at night. Anthony owned a jewelry store in Fort Lauderdale, and on that night, surveillance footage shows them entering the building and then taking the elevator to go upstairs to shop after they went out for dinner. Apparently, Nenad wanted to buy jewelry for his girlfriend for Christmas, but things went horribly wrong. After entering the shop on the 3rd floor, Nenad was seen leaving 2 hours later on his own, carrying a bag and something covered with a towel. Anthony was reported missing on September 20th, but his body was found 3 days later in his shop by police, and the autopsy showed that he had injured his neck, back, and head. Eventually, he did admit to murdering his 73-year-old friend and to stealing 20 pieces of jewelry, which he ended up throwing over a bridge. Nenad was eventually charged with 2nd-degree murder.
All over some jewelry.
The gunfire captured at the end of that clip took the life of 26-year-old Melisha Jackson and her 1-year-old son, Isaac. On December 17, 2019, Melisha and Isaac were just hanging out in their home. And that's when a group of masked men approached the back of the home. 3 men then opened fire into the back door of the home and killed Melisha and Isaac. Sadly, Isaac was actually in his mother's arms when they were both shot and killed. Just a few days after the shooting, this man, Thomas Anthony Henderson, was announced as a suspect. At the time of the shooting, he was still a teenager. Thomas is currently still in prison for this crime, but there are 2 other men that were involved in the shooting that were never brought to justice. If you know anything about the murders of Melisha or Isaac Jackson, please contact local authorities, because this story is absolutely horrific. These 2 were just hanging out at home. The gunmen were trying to target someone involved in a gang, but these 2 were not the intended targets, and in fact, the initial target wasn't even shot. Also, if you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast that my wife and I co-host, Murder in America, available on all streaming platforms.
To think we were actually impressed when this first came out in 2023. Extremely grainy and chaotic, with each clip only being like 2 seconds long. Not to mention, the backgrounds, movements, and pretty much everything going on in the videos is just totally warped and doesn't visually actually make any sense. More of a bad trip than a realistic simulation, but it's a start. Then in 2024, we get a serious update. It's looking much better. Full HD, and there's a sort of consistency in the video where things aren't just morphing in and out of shape anymore. You'll still notice some movements that are kind of creepy and jerky, or objects that just forget how they were supposed to be oriented. Overall, it still has a very uncanny type of feel to it. Like, we can obviously tell what we're looking at isn't real life, but now, 2025 just brought it to a whole new level. Actually, no, this is a real video Will Smith took himself in 2024 as a parody to all the AI videos of him eating spaghetti. But it does give us a sort of control test of what we're working towards, because this is AI Will Smith eating spaghetti in 2025. The future is here. Huge improvements over...
Man, it's scary, bro. Like how AI is constantly keep getting better and better and better. Then each year, you ain't gonna be able to tell the difference no more. And people are already getting fooled now. Just imagine, like 10 or 20 years from now, you can't distinguish a real video from a fake video. It's getting scary out
For
here,
2024, at first glance, it almost looks 100% real. But if you look really close, you'll see a few unnatural movements and subtle transformations that just don't make much sense. But clearly, we're making great progress, and soon enough, we're going to be able to generate videos of anyone doing anything, and we're not even going to be able to tell whether they're real or AI. Hold up, should we be concerned?
You won't believe how this mother lost her daughter. Jeannie Diddy had a daughter named Macy Gray. They looked so happy together, and one day she said her 2-year-old choked on a banana. Sadly, her daughter passed away. Jeannie was so heartbroken that she had these pictures made. It was her grieving with the ghost of her daughter. Sometimes things aren't what they seem. Turns out that she only got those photos made to look innocent. Jeannie and her boyfriend Zach actually abused her daughter, winded up killing her. Rest in peace, Macy.
Pictures, man. Never tell the full story.
This person is from? What about this person? Or this person? You might have guessed these people to be indigenous Australians, or perhaps people of the Pacific Islands, or even Africans. But they're actually members of various Adivasi tribes found in India. The people I showed you were specifically part of the Irula and Anya tribes. Now, according to the Out of Africa theory, humans first entered South Asia or India around 70,000 years ago. We refer to the people that formed a hunter-gatherer society in South Asia as the AASI. All South Asians partially descend from these early Homo sapiens that entered the subcontinent. Apparently, around 22% of my own DNA is derived from these ancient people. But the reason these tribal communities in India are so fascinating is because up to 70% of their DNA is derived from the AASI. And so some refer to them as the indigenous people of India, a debated title.
Could these be zombie hands? Hello, my friend. My name is Aslan, and today we're looking at something called dead man's fingers, also known as Zolaria polymorphia. Believe it or not, this is actually a fungus. As you probably guessed, it gets the name dead man's fingers from the fact that it looks like a zombie hand reaching out of the ground. Funny enough, it actually grows around the base of dying trees. This picture is probably the creepiest to me because it looks like the toes of a corpse. And that's our first episode of Spooky Season.
It does look like Dead Man's Hands.
6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. If your eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
Did y'all know cruise ship graveyards were a thing? Because if you didn't, you do now. A cruise ship graveyard is, get this, a graveyard for cruise ships. And it's just a bunch of absolutely massive ships in a water yard, just chilling there because they're not being used and will never be used ever again because they're either damaged or whatever. Could you imagine exploring this place at night? You would have to pay me $1 million to go anywhere close to these. Do you know how big these things are? So this is like a modern cruise ship, okay? Like, look how massive this thing is. Like, we're gonna focus right there in the pool area, okay? That's how tiny the people are in comparison to this gigantic ship. Looking at that again, and then that. No thank you. And also, this is the size of the Titanic in comparison to a modern day cruise ship, which is about 4 times as big. And we all know how big Titanic was. Why these people? Are those children or are those? No, those are adults. Oh my God, look how big they are. It's small. Look how small they are in comparison to this gigantic bottom of the ship. This photo made my stomach drop into the pit of my butt when I saw it this morning. I actually kind of love this. I love this for her, this goat chilling with this dog in front of a ship graveyard. I would not be joining the goat. I just want to know what these people are on to be able to get in kayaks and go anywhere near these abandoned ships. Like, that's just horrific. Could you go in a kayak and go anywhere near these abandoned ships? And here's the inside of one of the cruise ships when it was turned sideways. Look at that, is nauseating. Like, imagine being on a cruise ship and it starts sinking and then you go outside and you see this in the hallway. Titanic all over again. This is so scary. So yeah, anyway, how are we feeling about these ship graveyards? Would you go near them?
No!
If you walk into this forest, you might never walk out. At least, that's what the legend says. This creepy slideshow that I got tagged in shows an image of a strange clearing in a forest, some images of UFOs that many people actually believe are real, and finally mentions the name of the forest, the Hoa Baciu. The Hoa Baciu is located in Romania, or Transylvania to be precise, and it's long been thought to be one of the most paranormal places on the earth. This forest is very old, however trees look very young, and as you can see, they have a lot of very weird curves and formations. And many people that are born in this area are warned never step foot in the forest because evil presences live there. It's rumored that many people that have walked into the forest have never come out, so it's kind of like a Bermuda Triangle, and even time travel has been involved here. With people that have gone missing for years on end, suddenly reappear, they don't remember where they were, but they look the exact same. Personally, I think that I would go into this, or at least take a tour of this tourist, but what about you guys?
See, cause y'all going into there? I see there's like a whole area where there's nothing but grass and it's in the whole circle. Nah, I'm good, love. Yeah, I got that. I took heed of the warnings. Yeah, I know why the people didn't.
Creepy urban legends from each state, Part 1, Arizona.
The ghost of Slaughterhouse Canyon. During the 1800s, there was a family who lived in the canyon. They were very poor, so the father would venture out into the canyon for food for his family. As you might have guessed, one day the father did not return, so his family slowly starved and descended into madness. The mother, unable to bear listening to her children cry anymore, put on her wedding dress, murdered the children, and threw them into a nearby river. The next day, she succumbed to starvation herself. The legend states that if you go down to Slaughterhouse Canyon at night, even now you will hear loud, anguished cries of the mother who lost her mind.
Stay from Slaughterhouse Canyon. Noted.
She says, it's his fingers. Yeah, I've seen his fingers.
A father confesses in detail the horrific moment his infant was being eaten alive by rats.
What do you think the explanation is? In your mind, what do you think it is? Instantly, what's the rats?
50 rat bites. That's how many bites a poor 6-month-old baby had all over his body after his parents left rats to nearly eat him alive.
I've seen blood everywhere, his diaper was half hanging off of him. I haven't seen his hands on it. He went to the bathroom and took a washcloth, like they have a nosebleed. She says, it's his fingers. Yeah, I've seen his fingers. Most of the fingers? Yes. He had marks on his head. Right. Were those marks new or they're in there? They're okay. What do you think the explanation is? In your mind, what do you think it is? Instantly, what's the rest?
The infant was left in a pool of blood with his tiny fingers gnawed down to the bone. He nearly died from blood loss and is now permanently disfigured.
That's the only picture they didn't remember him all night. Anybody ever been bit before in the home? By a rat? Anybody? Any kids? You? No. Rat? Me? No.
He was living in a true house of horrors. It was in deplorable conditions, infested with rats and full of clutter, trash, bugs, and feces. The baby's mauling wasn't the first rat attack at the home. 3 other children had previously been bitten while sleeping. The Indiana Department of Child Services had provided aid to address safety concerns beforehand. The father has denied these allegations.
There's never been none of those children been bitten by rats during the night, or at all.
Prosecutors said the baby's father, David Schoenebaum, failed to address issues that would have provided the children with a safe environment to live in.
But specifically, when you pick him up, you see the injuries, you immediately think, in your mind, you're like, rats did this. There's nothing else could have caused this. Yeah.
David Schoenebaum was sentenced to 16 years in prison after a jury convicted him of 3 felonies related to the neglect and endangerment of his children. His wife, Angel Schoenebaum, and Schoenebaum's sister-in-law, Delana Thurman, was given probation. We hope in some way the baby can heal from this traumatizing incident.
After watching this movie, I'm realizing that we need to bring back haunted object horror movies because look at this. Freaky as hell. So I got to see an early screening of The Monkey, which comes out February 21st, and it's not because I am cool, it's because Justin over at Slasher Talk is very cool, and he got a private screening, and I was like, hello, can I tag along? And I didn't really know anything about the movie other than the fact that it's based on a short story from Stephen King, and it's brought to us by Osgood Perkins, who also brought us Long Legs. And if you're expecting something like Long Legs, wipe your mind of that, baby, because it is nothing like that. The gist of the movie is about these twin brothers who have this inherited haunted monkey toy thing, and when he bangs his little drum, crazy things happen. I went into this thinking it was going to be like Long Legs, like very dreadful and very serious. No, it is bonkers and batshit crazy and bloody and gory and hilarious. It's a horror comedy. I didn't know that. And I know the trailer shows a ton of the death scenes, but I promise you, that's not even that half of it. Now, I do have to warn you though, because this is a horror comedy, a lot of these death scenes are like very gratuitous and very over the top, so just keep an open mind that this is like a very just fun, silly, unserious movie when it comes to that. Overall, I gave The Monkey a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. This one's just a fun one. You can sit back, turn your brain off, and enjoy all the chaotic craziness that's going on.
3. In the late 19th century, if you had a cavity, the dentist would give you cocaine in order for you not to feel it. In the 1950s, doctors would recommend pregnant women to smoke to help alleviate stress and control weight gain. It was also told that smoking increased the chances that you would have a healthy baby. Really glad we don't do that one anymore. In some cultures, toe amputations are needed for people who want to be ballerinas. It's believed that if you have a toe amputation, it would help you be more on point with your big toe, which I guess technically isn't wrong. Christopher Columbus mistook manatees for mermaids. In fact, he made love to a manatee. Now I know what you're thinking, how would that even work? Well, it worked. In fact, it worked so well because manatees have an identical vagina to humans. Do it that way you will. You have an extra 2 inches of pee-pee length that you'll never be able to see. But it still counts, right? Since the 1980s, there are 222,000 unsolved serial killer murders. And that's just in the United States. If that's not scary enough, you will walk past 36 serial killers in your entire lifetime. So make sure you're always watching your back. Make sure to like and follow for tomorrow's video. Accidental Mess.
That was a wild time back then.
Part 3. First American football game was played just 4 years after the Civil War. The last death by firing squad occurred in the U.S. the same year Toy Story 3 came out. Shakespeare was still alive while England was colonizing America. The Roman Empire fell just 40 years before Columbus discovered a new continent. Mozart was in his prime while the United States signed the Declaration of Independence. Before 2016, the Cubs hadn't won a World Series since the Ottoman Empire existed. The first plane crash occurred the same year the Model T came out. Crazy?
Some crazy facts, man. We're learning.
Now Australia is the drunkest country in the entire world, a new study finds. So the global study heard from over 32,000 people from 22 countries. It revealed that Australians on average got drunk 27 times throughout the year, and the global average, bear in mind, is 15. The average Australian got drunk, not tipsy, more than once every 2 weeks, and that's just the average. Australians also tripled the global average on seeking emergency care for their drinking. And in case you were wondering, the top 5 drunkest countries in the world are UK in 5th place, USA in 4th, Finland in 3rd, Denmark in 2nd, and good old Australia in 1st.
I really thought it was gonna be the UK first, because I know UK, there's like, you can drink over there when you like, if I'm not mistaken, like me, like 16, 17, right? At the pub, so that's shocking. I was not expecting the Australians, man, to be the drunkest country, bro.
Things you didn't know what they were for. 1. The purpose of those little buttons on jeans is called rivets.
and they are placed in areas of high wear to prevent the jeans from tearing. 2. The small pocket on jeans was originally designed to hold a pocket watch. It's a 19th century design. 3-. The first mark at the bottom of the glass represents approximately 1 shot. The second line is for wine and the third line is for beer. 4. The shape of beer bottles was designed to encourage people to hold them by the neck, preventing the beer from warming up before finishing it.
Terrifying
Wow.
games you don't want to
Interesting.
play, part 32. You and I. The rules for playing this game are simple and the rewards for winning can be great, but be warned, if you lose, the penalty will be worse than death. To play the game, you'll need to awaken your mirror twin. All you'll need to do this is a deck of playing cards, a match or fire starter, and a full-size mirror. Once you have acquired these items, you'll need to set up the mirror in a quiet room and wait until midnight. Once the clock strikes 12, you'll need to remove the Joker cards from the deck and burn them in front of the mirror while saying the words, "I know you're there, come out and play." This will awaken your twin, allowing the game to begin. To begin the game, you'll need to deal yourself 10 random playing cards face down. Before you reveal the cards, you'll need to say out loud whether you think there will be more numbered cards or face cards in the hand. If you choose correctly, then for every card you got right, you will gain an extra year of good luck. For example, if you pick face cards, and there are 6 face cards in the hand and 4 numbered cards, you will gain 6 years of good luck. But if you choose wrong, then your evil twin will be released from their prison. They will seek to take over every part of your life, locking you in the mirror in their stead. Comment whether or not you would play this game, and follow for more.
Crazy history
No.
facts you didn't learn in school. Part
Won't be playing that.
6. Abraham Lincoln is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. George Washington opened a whiskey distillery. During the Salem witch trials, the accused witches weren't actually burned in the perception of time. Part 3. First American football game was played just 4 years after the Civil War. The last death by firing squad occurred in the U.S. the same year Toy Story 3 came out. Shakespeare was still alive while England was colonizing America. The Roman Empire fell just 40 years before Columbus discovered a new continent. Mozart was in his prime while the United States signed the Declaration of Independence. Before 2016, the Cubs hadn't won a World Series since the Ottoman Empire existed. The first plane crash occurred the same year the Model T came out. Crazy?
That's that Cubs fact, bro. It's crazy.
This weird-looking fish is, but this is why I won't swim in canal.
That, my friend, is a sheep's head. Now, you might be wondering why this fish looks like it should still be pissed about the Euro Cup. It's because they use those teeth to grind up shellfish, mussels, and clams, and in some places you can hear them munching away. You can find them in Cape Cod in Massachusetts, through Florida, Gulf of Mexico, all the way down to Brazil. Also, they have a bad habit of stealing bait from fishermen. Luckily, they're not super aggressive, and they don't normally bite people unless you literally ask for it. But with a mouthpiece like that, they don't need to touch you to do damage to your mental. Also, the saltwater sheephead is apparently sweet-tasting when cooked, but I wouldn't know because I do not have the strength to try one. Also, they're not the only fish with a dental plane. This is a triggerfish, and like the sheepshead, they look like they only exist because of a drunk dare. But unlike the sheepshead, the triggerfish lives up to its name by being highly aggressive and territorial. And the worst of all is the Titan triggerfish, which is mean enough to send you to bed with more stitches than you woke up with. Now, hear me out, but he looks just like...
Oh, what the...
You will believe
Roasted
the
Travis Scott.
twist at the end of this story. So during the 1970s, a young couple living in Utah went on their first date. And the two of them were having a good time on this first date, but they could both tell that this wasn't really going anywhere between the two of them. It was pretty awkward between the two of them over the course of their dinner, but they decided to be friendly and just stick it out. It was getting to be pretty late at night, but right before the young couple left the restaurant to go their separate ways, the young man asked the young woman if she wanted to go on a late night hike with him in the Utah mountains. The young woman was kind of taken aback by him asking her to do this, considering the date didn't go too well. But he explained to her that he had gone hiking in those same mountains many times before and that there was nothing to be worried about. And so the young woman decided to agree to go on this hike with her date because she thought, what the heck, maybe this will spice things up. However, when the young couple began their hike in the woods, the two of them felt very off about things. As the two of them went deeper into the forest, things began to feel very eerie around them. Both of their heartbeats began to rapidly speed up, and the two of them kind of both thought to themselves that maybe they should turn back around. But since it was their first date, neither of them wanted to be the one to speak up and say, hey, I think we should go back, so they kept on walking forward. At this point, it was basically completely black in the forest. And then suddenly, the two of them heard some movement coming from some nearby bushes. And it was right at this point when the man stepped on something soft and squishy that was very different from the rest of the trail. And it was right at this point where the two of them just felt like they should get out of there, so they both left. Ironically, this scary experience in the woods led the young couple to become closer, and eventually, a few years later, they got married. 10 years later, the married couple was making breakfast one morning while watching the news. And on the news this particular morning, they were interviewing a serial killer a couple days before he was sentenced to be put to death. And one of the questions that they asked him was if there was ever a time where he was almost caught years before he was actually caught by police. And surprisingly, the murderer said, well, yeah, there actually was this time where I was nearly caught in the woods. He went on to say that about 10 years ago, he was in the mountains of Utah trying to dispose one of his victims in the woods, when all of a sudden a young couple literally walked right into the crime scene. The killer said that the young man in the couple actually stepped on the body of his victim that he was trying to drag away into the woods. However, since it was so dark in the woods, the young couple couldn't really see their surroundings, so they just kind of turned around and left, being spooked. The serial killer that the young couple unknowingly caught in the act was Ted Bundy.
Trust your gut, man. Trust your gut. It will literally save your life. That's what you need to take from that story, Seekers. It's crazy in Utah. Don't we have like a grave digger mountain in Utah, bro? That sounds like you asking for trouble, man.
This is the most disturbing Japanese serial killer that you've never learned about. This is Tasomo Miyazaki, and this is his real hand. If his name is hard to pronounce for you, don't worry about it. You can call him his nickname, the Human Dracula. Now, the reason you might not have heard about this case is because the details of this case are so disturbing that Japanese media tried to hide this. From 1988 to 1989, he was convicted of abducting, murdering, and mutilating young girls from the ages of 4 to 7. The way he would do this is he would drive to a local park or maybe even a playground, and he would have a friendly conversation with these young girls so that way they'd be able to trust him. The second they were able to trust him, he would then lure them into his car by saying, hey, I'll give you a ride somewhere. Once the child would get in his car, he would then strangle them and then mutilate their bodies. As if this isn't the worst part, he would collect their hands as trophies, he would grind up their bones into a powder, put it inside of a package, and mail it to the victims' families. The reason he did this is he enjoyed taunting the victims' families by basically saying, you're never gonna catch me. He would also drink their blood and even eat the hands. But boy was he wrong, because in 1989 he was literally caught in the act of trying to pick up a little girl. He was arrested and put on trial, and he never took accountability for what he did. He had no remorse, and he kept blaming it for his alter ego. He was eventually executed in 2008, and this is why your parents tell you to never trust strangers. There are so many disturbing cases in Japan, but Japan doesn't like people to know about them because they try and keep everything really discreet. They basically don't want the public to freak out about all of these cases, but if you want to know the real deal secrets behind Japan, make sure to hit the like and follow button, and I'll explain them some in the next video.
Lost inventions that could have changed the world. In the late 1990s, inventor Jan Slow created the Slow digital coding system. He claimed it could compress an entire multi-gigabyte movie down to a file size of 8 kilobytes. This would have revolutionized the way we store and share data. Slough demonstrated this to executives from Philips by playing 16 movies simultaneously from a single 64 kilobyte chip. And the Philips execs told Slough that he was about to be, quote, the richest man on earth. However, 2 days before the source code was going to be handed over, Slough mysteriously died in his garden of a heart attack on September 11th, 1999. And his decoding software was never recovered.
Nah, that's definitely something fishy, man. Bro was about to freaking change the memory software game forever. And then 2 days later, he has a heart attack. Literally after that guy said, you're about to become the richest man on earth. Something not adding up, man. I think something happened, bro.
The catacombs of Paris don't scare me. But you know what does? The Palermo catacombs. Now the Paris catacombs are filled with bones, but the Palermo catacombs has 1,200 full mummified bodies. Also, I'm showing you these photos for educational purposes, but like if you're squeamish, beware. And this is one of them. Like she literally looks like a sleeping girl.
but she's so old. Her name is Rosalia. She's one of the last bodies that was put in the catacombs, and she passed away in 1920 due to the Spanish flu. And look how good of a condition she's in. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, the bodies lining the wall are creepy. And she never really decomposed. Like, she's 60 years old in this, but she literally looks like she's like a sleeping child. I can't show you his face, but a lot of these faces are decomposing, and then a lot of them are really, really lifelike, which is what I find so creepy. If you want, just Google this, and pictures will come up, and you'll get to see the faces. I just can't post them. In 2009, she started getting a little discolored, so they put her in a glass case to preserve her better. And people noticed her eyes opening and closing in the glass case. But people said when her eyes would open, they could see how crystal blue her eyes were. But then when her eyes were closed, you couldn't see this. But this happened because her eyes, like, weren't actually fully closed. So the light would sometimes play tricks. But this is like a thing that happens with the bodies in the catacombs here. Would you visit the Palermo catacombs? Let me know. And follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
Nah, not me.
Presence some hikers have seen? Apparently, multiple hikers who have been in the same extreme survival situations reported seeing the same ghostly presence. It's known as the third man syndrome, and it's when a supernatural presence appears to give comfort and encouragement to someone. I did a whole episode on it on the podcast, but this is one of the stories that really stood out to me. So in 1983, James Sevigny and his friend Richard were hiking in the Canadian Rockies. They were up part of a mountain when all of a sudden James hears this thunderous roar coming from up the mountain. And as he looks up, there's just thousands of tons of snow pummeling straight towards him.
Avalanche.
Get hit hard, and when James wakes up, he's in bad shape. His body had been tumbled around like socks in a dryer. He had all these broken bones and internal bleeding. And so he thinks this is it. He just lays down and accepts it. But 20 minutes later, he feels this person come up behind him, and he's under the snow, mind you. And this person says, "You can't give up. You have to live." And somehow James crawls out of the snow where he sees two cross-country skiers in the distance, and they come over and rescue him. Richard unfortunately didn't make it, but James lived. Some people attribute this to guardian angels, but what do you think?
We finally have a full trailer for the new horror movie Bring Her Back, an A24 horror movie by the same directors who made Talk to Me a few years ago. I'm pretty excited about this one. Usually I'm a big fan of horror movies where like a ritual goes wrong and then all hell breaks loose. Bring Her Back looks like it'll involve some kind of demonic possession, but we don't really know that much about the plot yet. So let's watch the trailer together and see what the movie could be about.
Alright.
How did you cope with Kathy being gone?
I didn't.
She's doing? Or maybe she's trying to do a ritual?
New sister and brother, Oliver. Oliver lost his family just like you guys. Needed someone to keep you in special care. Listen, I gotta tell you a secret.
That white ring for?
Some people believe the spirit stays in the body for months after death. We can bring her back.
Okay.
This is the most inbred family in America. These are the Whitakers, and they're from a town called Odd in West Virginia. It's really sad. They don't have contact with the outside world, so they'll bark and grunt in order to communicate. Here's how all of this happened. Henry and John are twins. Henry has a son named John, and John has a daughter named Gracie. Gracie and John are cousins. They then get married and have 15 kids. Also, Gracie's parents were cousins. Photographer named Mark Leda met the family in 2004, and here's what he had to say.
But we were in West Virginia, just driving around, looking for anybody interesting to photograph. And this windy road turns into like a gravel road, and then turns into a dirt road. And there's shacks. Every once in a while you see a house. Like somebody lives there. They're very poor. There's a shack on the left. There's a trailer on the right. A small trailer. And there's about 10 or 12 people just walking around. And it's like everyone you look at, it's like their eyeballs are going this way. And not a single tooth among them. Not a single tooth in any of their heads. And they look at us and we look at them and they start yapping and screaming and barking. And yeah, some of them are just staring at us and drooling.
He raised a lot of money to help them with these pictures and videos of the family. He's friends with them and he takes them shopping. And he and the police check up on them every once in a while to make sure they're doing okay. If you like my content, follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
Crazy story about how we found them.
Let me get a pair of twins. All right? They're born the same time, they're the same age. And now one of them I will send off at 90% the speed of light. And the other I'll keep down here on Earth. So we can ask, how does their aging rates compare? Okay? Turns out, this twin that I've already sent, his clock ticks 44% as fast as this twin's clock. Our clock here on Earth. So, this twin is aging more slowly than this one. That's at 90% the speed of light. Let's pump it up some more. How about 99% the speed of light? Now the time ticks at only 14% the rate, as it does back here on Earth. How about 99.9%? We're getting closer and closer to the speed of light itself. And at that speed, the clock ticks only 4.5% as fast. So, what does this mean? Tell you what it means. This twin that traveled for 5 years and comes back, if they went at 99.9% the speed of light, after 5 years, they're 5 years older.
Wow.
We have aged 110 years.
Damn, what the?
It's called the twin paradox.
Okay, some creepy facts. We're locking in, bro. Not
If
I.
you want to keep that thing as a pet, be my guest. But first, there's some things you should know. Meet the fang-toothed moray eel. It's basically a fully carnivorous sea serpent with a mouthful of broken glass. Not to mention, they have a 900-pound bite force to go along with those daggers. Oh, and their teeth? Yeah, they face backwards. That way, when they grab a hold of their prey, it ain't going nowhere. And this is where things get weird. Inside their throat, they have a second set of jaws with a second set of teeth. And these jaws can protrude forward to help grab the prey and pull it down its throat. Come to think of it, that sounds really familiar. Anyways, what makes it even worse is they have absolutely no predators. And that's because they have this really thick slime substance inside their body. So if anything were to bite into them, they would just get a mouthful of slime, which will cause them to choke and retire from taking in oxygen. At this point, Mother Nature's just picking favorites. Moral of the story? I don't think that swimming doctor's office would make a very good friend. Maybe leave it there. And as always, follow for more facts.
This is
Thanks for letting us know.
Story part 25. Warning. This is not a joke. The information that's going to be shared is dangerous and life-threatening. Do not, under any circumstance, commit the actions that will be narrated. This is the world's most dangerous book ever, Shams al-Ma'arif. This book was written by Ahmed al-Buni in the 17th century. But technically, the author of this book is not a human being. I never did and will never read this book. And this is your second warning. Do not read this book.
I won't.
Ahmed al-Buni practiced black magic, and he was in contact with the most powerful jinns and demons before he passed away. The jinns were the authors of this book. The elder generations, like our moms and dads, have heard about this book, and they were warned by it. There are thousands of horrifying stories of people who read this book. Shams al-Ma'arif explains everything about black magic, how to get in touch with the world of jinns, how to marry a jinn, and the sacrifices you have to do for the devil, and much more. Unfortunately, this book can be easily found online. One day, a Saudi Arabian man that read hundreds of books for a living decided to read this book specifically out of interest and love for all books, without fearing the consequences behind it. He reached the chapter that teaches readers how to get married to a female jinn. He laughed about it. He tried the ritual to experiment it. The first night after finishing the whole book and completing the marriage ritual, he felt someone breathing next to his face. And on the second night, he felt a hand touching his feet. And on the third night, he heard her voice. The man was officially locked in a marriage with a demon. 5 years go by. He met a normal, beautiful woman that he fell in love with, and they both decided to get married a week before the wedding day. The bride, the bride's parents, and the groom's parents all passed and died in 3 different car crashes. These are the consequences behind this book. And it's also known from many stories of people that have died from reading the first few pages. If you don't finish reading the book, you will get killed. All my stories, all of them, are true incidents that happened one time only. But this book is a product that is permanently available online. I beg you, do not go anywhere.
A tornado of 1974 that showed the dark side of nature. April 3rd, 1974 started as an unusually hot and nice day for that time of year in Xenia, Ohio. People were out and about, enjoying the day. Some people were laying out in their yard, getting sunshine, which is what one survivor was doing that we'll talk about in a minute. But most people had no idea of the weather that was heading their way. It wasn't until about 3:30 that dark clouds started rolling in, and many of the survivors described the sky turning green. So, one survivor, his name was Michael. He was about 15 years old and had just gotten out of school around 3:30. So he probably made it home a little before 4. His mom was still at work. She worked in downtown on Main Street in Xenia. And I feel like we all know that feeling of getting home from school, you have the house to yourself, maybe make a snack, put on your favorite TV shows. That's basically what was happening. The weather was picking up outside, but he wasn't really concerned at the moment until the TV was interrupted, which was very rare back then. And also there was no tornado warnings back then in that town at the time. But the TV interruption was of a guy, I think a meteorologist named Gil Whitney, saying that there was an unprecedented tornado breakout in other states near Ohio, which was the super breakout of 1974. Hundreds of tornadoes started breaking out across 13 states, destroying thousands of homes, killing hundreds of people. So at around 4 p.m., the first TV interruption happened in Xenia, saying that the outbreak is happening nearby and that Ohio might get some of the tornadoes, but not Xenia specifically. And then about 15 minutes later, a second interruption happened on the TV, and I'm sure he started freaking out at that point, but they were saying like Xenia could be in the projected path of some tornadoes, but nothing saying that there is one yet. And then at 4:30 another TV interruption happens, but this time they're saying take cover, a giant tornado is barreling towards Xenia right now. So Michael calls up his mom at work, and she actually answers and says that she's aware of the situation and that the weather is starting to pick up and get really bad. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my god, it's here, and then the line goes dead. So that obviously freaked him out, and he realized how bad the situation really was, and decided to jump in the car and go look for her, which may have not been the best idea, but he did survive, so. But according to him, as he started making his way towards downtown, there was just so much debris that he had to keep finding different roads. As he got closer, he just realizes how bad it really was, and to the point where he had to jump out of his car and just start running because there was so much debris, and even like climb over the derailed train. 3 different tornadoes had combined into one giant tornado that was a half a mile wide, then headed straight for Xenia. And we'll pick this story back up in part 2, so if you guys are ready for that, let me know.
Sounds crazy, but they said the whole sky turned green? What was going on? First time hearing about, I guess, a tornado doing that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
You know, at night when you have to turn the lights off in your house and you get to that last light and you switch it off and it's completely dark and it feels like all of a sudden your house has now become the most haunted house in the world and you have to make a run all the way back to your bedroom. There might be something to that. Now, when we are doing this, right, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position. And I think anything negative, any kind of spirit, that is a negative entity knows this. This is the best time to scare us. And they're trying to see if they could scare us just a little bit to gain entry and to allow them permission to come into our lives. So this is a story I heard out of Rockford, Illinois. There was this girl, and she lived in this bigger house all alone. And it started to get late. She wanted to go to bed. So she starts going through her house, turning off all the lights. She gets to the last light, which is in the living room. And when she hits it off, and it goes completely dark, she gets that feeling. Well, she walks through her living room, and as she walks past her kitchen, she turns and kind of glances in, and she sees a woman, like in a white gown, just standing in the kitchen. And she's like, "Who are you? What do you want?" And the woman just starts walking towards her. So she takes off running to her bedroom.
Smart.
She closes her door, locks it, and she calls the police. The police show up, and she says, "You know, come inside, like there's a woman in my house. I'm in my bedroom, locked in there, I don't want to come out." So they go through her house, they search it, they don't find anyone. And they said, "Ma'am, are you sure you didn't just see something? Like, you know, are you just tired? And maybe it was like a hallucination." And she goes, "No, I'm for sure there was a woman in my kitchen." So they said, "Well, we can't find anything. You probably are just tired. Why don't you just go to bed?" So they leave, and she goes back up to her bedroom. And when she lays down in bed, she kind of feels like, you know what, maybe that was just, you know, in my head. Maybe I'm just tired and I need to get some sleep.
Okay.
So as she turns around to adjust herself in the bed, there's the woman standing right next to her. And she jumps up, she runs out of her house, and she said as she's in the front of her house, she can see the woman looking out of her window, staring at her.
Going on in the world right now. For years, there were 0 survivors of the attack on Pearl Harbor at the annual memorial. Bill Gates' 22-year-old daughter came out and said that it's terrifying for the boys who she brings home to meet her socially awkward father in his $63 million mansion. I could not imagine. Come on, the right guy will vibe with him and be socially awkward with him, I'm sure. In the last 3 years, women over 40 have had more babies than women under 20. A 17-year-old NASA intern discovered a brand new planet on his 3rd day in office. There is a trend amongst billionaires in China right now where they are having hundreds of children to build, quote, unstoppable dynasties. And China as a whole is about to impose a 13% tax on condoms to boost fertility nationwide. Japan only recorded 686,000 births in 2024, which is the lowest amount of births in Japan since 1899. Girls are officially now less likely than boys to say that they want to get married. Putin gifted a $22,000 motorcycle to a random Alaskan man, and no one really officially knows the reason why.
Anyone else notice weird things happening when you use free will?
So if you don't believe in hacking the system, please scroll. Because I just don't want. Okay. Thank you. So today, I was I had this impulsive thought to walk backwards because I saw a video of a girl doing it and she was like, you gotta walk backwards, change your life, whatever. I'm like, okay. One day I was thinking about doing it. I didn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I was like, no, there's people. I couldn't get over it. But then today I was like, fuck it. So I turn around and start walking backwards for 10 seconds. I'm on a main road, it's a lot, but walking backwards for 10 seconds. I turn back around. The second that I'm facing forward again, the YouTube video that's playing in my headphones, it stops playing. I'm like, what the fuck? I pull it out. It's just the spiral of death spinning. I can't make this shit up, guys. I was like, right. When you do things that are unexpected, your body is not expecting, your mind isn't even expecting, the environment around you is not expecting, you will experience sudden shifts. You will experience some weird shit happening to you.
Interesting.
I'm telling you. This is how you wake yourself up. Okay, and you realize that you do not have to be on autopilot. You are not an animal. You are not meant to be doing things repetitively without any control over them. You're supposed to intervene on your life.
Once again, I've created this series of videos because we're at a point in 2026 where we can't tell if some of these videos that are being posted all over social media are real or AI. Once again, the following video that I'm going to share with you looks too real to be fake. This video depicts an alleged alien playing basketball with military personnel and a private compound. Take a look at the video for yourself. Look at this.
Yeah, this is the way that's real, bro. Too out in the open.
I went ahead and tried to enhance the video at the point where the alleged alien is dunking on the rim, as you can see from here. Once again, the video looks very authentic, and I can't tell whether it's real or it's AI. I don't know who published the video. There are no AI watermarks on the video whatsoever. And I've seen other videos from different angles of the same exact basketball game. And once again, I'd love your opinion on this, because as I said before in other videos, there are claims that those alleged things are already walking amongst us. And once again, what if the video is not AI, and they're trying to prepare us for something that may be coming? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
This video is terrifying. Watch it. It's an urban exploration video. Do not do this, by the way. This animatronic is still there, and it has been abandoned since 2003. Look how big it is. 70 feet long.
Damn.
Giant dragon in Las Vegas. Look at the track it's on. You don't have to get that close to it. You really don't. Please step back. Here's it in water, by the way, which it used to be in 24/7 because it actually took place at the Excalibur show at the Excalibur Hotel in Las Vegas. Bro is absolutely massive, by the way. Bro would come out of this trap door and he would breathe fire and have beef with this dude dressed like a wizard. It would be in this arena, which, what's that? That's the track it would come out on, and my submechanophobia is so disgusted by this photo alone. Not only that, here's what it looks like abandoned. Once again, do not go look at this. This is not safe. But this photo of it completely abandoned behind there with the water drained, oh my god. I hate literally everything about this. How are we feeling?
There is a major new AI scam, and this is insane. People are now using AI in some wild ways to Photoshop photos to get refunds on food, products, or anything really. People who have bought eggs are AIing that the eggs were cracked and then getting a full refund. Pretending that a perfectly fine box of cakes was actually squashed like this and then, yeah, getting a full refund. Or a picture of a hamburger on a DoorDash or a Deliveroo, absolutely fine, pretending it's pink, getting a refund. But this is extremely damaging to some of the smaller businesses who are on Deliveroo and other platforms that are getting exploited by these scams, as these people are having to pay out thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in refunds when it was actually fine. It's also happening in products though, where people are buying like mugs and then pretending they were smashed, or more expensive items on Amazon, you know, $100, $200, and then getting them refunded. It just shows how crazy AI is getting, and these scams are going to get far more out of hand as time goes on, because these photos genuinely look real. You would not be able to tell that that is fake. So a lot of people are of course using this in their own favour to try and get refunds, but let me know your thoughts and I'll keep you updated.
If they keep doing that to the major companies, you know that's going to put a major stop to it, man. When they're hitting the small businesses, you're saying, you know, they don't care about that, but let them keep doing that to companies like Amazon and McDonald's or something off DoorDash, bro. They're gonna shut that down expeditiously, man. Don't mess with those main corporations, bro. Then maybe we'll see somebody actually try to take down AI, bro.
Is officially about to become part of the United States, voluntarily or involuntarily. This man said if they voluntarily gave up Greenland, he would give each citizen 10,000 or upwards of 100,000. And if they don't, he's just gonna go in and take it. just like he went in and took the president of Venezuela.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard one.
I don't know if it was only me that felt like this, but when I seen that he was going to pay them this money, I'm like, fool, you gave us a $1,200 stimulus check, but you willing to pay them upwards of $100,000? Certain shit just don't add up to me. You got that money to pay them, you better have the money to pay us too. What is you talking about? But anyway, how do y'all feel about this? Do y'all think this is a smart move? Do y'all think we need Greenland? And do y'all think he capping about if US don't get it, either China or Russia gonna get it?
There's that Star of Jacob that's popping up.
Dude, so scary.
So they're saying that this Star of Jacob is the same star that came about when Jesus was born, and that's the star that the wise men followed.
That's super dope.
So apparently this star appears every 2,000 years, and there's people saying that with this Star of Jacob appearing, that Jesus' return is inevitable.
And it was
Star of
huge.
Jacob?
Like, it's literally just like
just a 2,000 year thing?
Yeah, weird electric, like it's different.
One dude said that if it is the Star of Jacob, like the one that appeared with Christ, he said, wouldn't it make sense that no one knew necessarily about Christ except for the three wise men, the shepherds, and Joseph and Mary, but it took 30 years for him to be known to the world, so could it be another 30 years before Jesus makes his appearance?
Try 3 years.
Please. If that's the one thing that we can get behind, I'm like, oh, give me 3 years. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm just tired of all this toiling.
Sorry for stealing the thunder.
It's your birthday!
Should female basketball players get paid more money? Well, last night at the All-Star game, both teams wore t-shirts which read, "Pay us what you owe us," while the crowd of 16,000 people loudly chanted, "Pay them." You see, currently there's negotiations happening for a new collective bargaining agreement on how players in the league get paid. The players are pushing for a more dynamic salary model, where their pay rises as the league's revenue does, while the league wants a more fixed percentage model. But the issue is, according to critics, the league has never generated a profit. In fact, it's shown a trend of losing more and more money each year. For example, just last year, the WNBA reportedly operated at a $50 million loss in a single season. But while this may be true, there has been some growth. They recently signed a $2.2 billion media deal, which starts in 2026. New teams are joining, which will bring in expansion fees. Viewership has increased, and there's been an influx of plenty new sponsors. And although this isn't enough to make the league profitable yet, it's worth noting they aren't asking to be paid the same amount as men. Rather, they're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue share. Essentially, they're calling for a similar deal to what men have, where NBA players receive 50% of all basketball-related income, whereas right now, women receive around 20 to 25% under their revenue share model, which also works a little bit differently, but we won't get into that now. But unlike the WNBA, the NBA is extremely profitable, so some say that applying the same revenue sharing model isn't that simple. So the question is, what do you think? Should they get a better deal or not?
What kind of devil worshiping shit is going on in Pennsylvania? So police arrested a man in Pennsylvania after discovering over 100 skulls in his basement. They found over 100 skulls and skeletal remains in this man's basement. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit.
Over
This shit is
100
crazy.
human skeletons were recovered, and that's in part. At this point, we are still trying to figure out how many of those are complete and what exactly we are looking at. A separate storage locker was found to be in Mr. Gerlach's possession. That also was in Ephrata. We found there 8 more human remains.
God damn.
Very simply, detectives have recovered an awful lot of bones at this point, and we are still trying to piece together who they are, where they are from, and how many we are looking at, and it's going to be quite some time before we have a answer.
Mind you, they're saying that this man has been robbing graves up to 200 years old in that Pennsylvania area, taking bones and storing them in his home. This man had infant bones. This man had bones up to 200 years old. And look at this shit. Police are looking into a Facebook group where they supposedly buy and sell skulls. What? Now you gotta ask yourself, how did the police find out all of this? They found out because they noticed human bones sitting in the back seat of a car near a cemetery. Bones in the back of a car in public. And then they searched his home. skulls stacked on shelves, bones sorted by type, mummified hands and feet. So now the question just isn't what did he do? The question is, why did he do it? Why did he collect over 100 human skulls? Why keep them organized? Why store them like inventory? Because this wasn't random. This was impulsive. This was intentional. Y'all better pay attention.
You grabbed 100 human bones, man. What the hell is going on in 2026, bro? You're starting this year off crazy, man. The fact that he said that somebody saw them, that he just had some bones in a car by the cemetery. So he's raiding graves? What was the purpose, man? Over 100 in his basement? And they just now finding out? Something not adding up.
The statue and pole. It would stretch like a slinky for dozens of feet. And this is because these sculptures are made by taking a sheet of paper and painting on thin strips of glue through a metal grate. And when the next sheet is placed on top, the grate is shifted slightly, making an alternating glue pattern when it's put together. And this is repeated thousands of times until there's multiple stacks. Then squiggly shapes are cut out with a spinning blade and glued on top of each other to form a blocky head. Finally, it's shaved down and smoothed with sandpaper, giving a lifelike statue you can pull apart. Just try not to drop it.
This is how crazy AI has gotten.
Does it work when I speak as well?
I have not tried that before, so let me try it and see
What it looks like. This is what we're capable of today. You can be anybody you want. You can change your clothes. You can change your face. You can change your voice. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. I think this is pretty cool. I think the future of acting will just be acting.
We're literally to the point where we cannot trust anything that we see. We're about to have catfishing at its all-time high. Scams at its all-time high.
Yo.
Imagine one of your family members send you a video saying that they need some money. And really, whole time, it's somebody else using an AI-generated video to trick you. The future, it's looking scary. But y'all let me know what's y'all thoughts on how far has AI gotten in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. And if you want exclusive content, comment down below YouTube and I'm gonna DM you the link.
You know there was an Epstein Island before Epstein Island? Wait, what? wait. Apparently, this guy named Francis Sheldon in Michigan bought an island, North Fox Island. He was a millionaire and he made an airstrip so he can fly out and fly in kids to this island.
Oh my god.
He made a boy camp. You come in, underprivileged kids, and then you learn about nature. Right? There was parents that were getting complaints about these staff members that would literally say, go into the cabin and take all your show me this, show me that, abuse these, and they would fly in clients, other rich millionaires, to come see these kids at these boy camps.
Wow.
I'm like, yo, this is exactly this is literally what Jeffrey Epstein was doing.
Yeah.
But this guy, he actually got away with it. Once he knew we were gonna come and get him, he literally took a flight out to another country, started a whole new life there, and got rid of all the evidence before they could actually like do a full search on him.
So he never got charged for it?
He never got charged.
That's crazy, man. What's up with these freaking millionaires buying these islands, bro? And doing horrible things on them, man. Gotta keep an eye out, bro.
Y'all got me fucked up right now. So you're telling me that there's a sacred fluid flowing through my spine right now? And if you knew what it could do, you would never waste it again? Cerebral spinal fluid. That's what they call it.
Teach us, bro.
Obviously, it's supposed to protect your brain and all that rah-rah. You feel me? But why did the ancients know so much about it? Can anybody read this? Basically, they call it the oil or Christ oil. And this is potentially what it looked like. This being healthy is this being, you need to go get checked on. Oh, I got y'all. This why y'all should watch my old videos on the reflexology charts in the hands and the feet. Because this is what you're looking for. So that sacred oil that goes down, it goes back up every month in specific alignments with the moon? Y'all ain't understand that? So in order for y'all to understand this, you feel me? You have to understand this. Huh? In order for you to understand this, you need to understand this.
Oh.
Because only then will you be able to master this. You feel me?
Your footsteps can now power an entire city block, and no one is talking about it. Engineers just built the world's first energy sidewalk, and every time you step on it, you generate electricity. Here's how it works. The tiles are made with piezoelectric material, so when your foot compresses the tile, it creates a small burst of power. One step equals about 5 joules of energy. It doesn't sound like much, but multiply that by thousands of people walking every hour, and suddenly you're powering streetlights, sensors, and speakers, all from people just walking to work. The first sidewalk was installed as a pilot project on a short stretch of pavement just to see if it would work, and it did. Now imagine this scaled across every major city, in train stations, airports, shopping centers, and stadiums. 20 years ago, sidewalks were just concrete. Now they're power plants hiding in plain sight. The craziest part is you don't even notice it's happening. You just walk and the ground does the rest. What city do you think should install this first? Drop it in the comments, and if you enjoyed stories like this, follow my page for more.
You mean that the sky turned pink in England today? Just when you thought the city of England couldn't get any more worser, today in Birmingham, England, people were going outside and crashing out because the sky was so pink that it was basically purple. And I didn't even believe that it was real at first. But this is where it gets more worser because that are trying to grow the grass. Even more insaner, a lot of people were speculating that this was something from the Stranger Things creators, hinting that there was going to be an episode 9 because the sky looks like the Mind Flare. But even more sadder, when you finally thought that something cool and magical happened in the city of England, turns out that it's just LED lights. But at least y'all have tuna on jacket potatoes. Would you ever visit England?
At the most recent UFO hearings, it's been suggested that extraterrestrial aliens could have bases here on the Earth, and that those bases would most likely be underwater, whether in an ocean or a deep, deep lake. Now this idea comes as no shock to me, since I've been talking about this for 15 years. Yeah, for at least 15 years I've been saying, if aliens had a base, extraterrestrial aliens, on the Earth or to observe the Earth, the best 2 places to have it would be in the oceans or on the moon, unless the moon itself is some kind of alien-based technology. The reason I believe this is because human beings are violent. We're a violent species. Imagine if extraterrestrials, aliens, came from a place where they've never killed another life form. And when they observe Earth, the people of Earth, they see us eating other life forms. That would absolutely freak you out. So if they had some kind of base here on the Earth, they wouldn't want it anywhere humans can walk up to. But my question is, what do you think of the possibility that extraterrestrial aliens have bases on the Earth? Let me know here on the forehead. Well, not there. How about the comment section? Shabadoo Bushkis. Shabadoo.
Check this video out, y'all. So this lady lives in California, right? And you guys know what's happening in California right now. All the crazy weather anomalies, right? So she goes in and does her regular routine AC filter change, right? But this time it's a lot different. She puts up her flashlight up to this dirty one, and this thing starts buzzing like it's got some electromagnetic disturbance interfering with it, y'all. But that's not it. She goes to the new one, and the new one doesn't do it at all. Is there something in this filter that's causing the biofeedback or the buzzing, y'all? Listen to this.
What the hell, y'all? Watch this and listen.
I hear it. But what's happening with this fog, man?
Every time we put the flashlight to it,
Y'all see the particles that's raining down in California? Look at the particles. Look at that, y'all.
You know what?
Something in it, bro. I know.
What's going on? Look, now she gets the new one. She shines the light to the floor. Here's the old one, and here's the new one.
The clean filter. Don't do it. Yo, what the fudge?
No sound.
Y'all hear that? Nothing, right? Now listen.
Oh, I'm out.
Why is the dirty filter doing that?
Now again, y'all, this is in California. Is something going out there in the fog? Is there something in the fog? Now, allegedly, TikTok, they say there is smart dust out there. Allegedly, could this be coming inside of our homes and making the filter, making this flashlight react to the filter? This is very interesting, y'all. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this video. Let's get this shit. Peace in.
Dirty filter doing that.
Something in that smart dust? They dust in California, bro? With that fog? That's crazy. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys hit thumbs up, comment down below, hit that post notification bell.